Hello and welcome to another reading from the Quarantine Theater Company. Tonight we're going to be doing a fun little read. This is my last read for Love Month. Aww. Anyway, we are doing My Best Friend's Wedding, and joining us, Travis, what is that look, dude?
Just his face.
What was that? Jesus,
It's called Creeper.
We're gonna do one shot. We're gonna kick Travis out. Anyway, doing scene description is Jen. She may be covering Travis when I get sick of his nonsense.
Okay.
I will be in tonight. Jared is going to be our digger, who is the Rupert Everett character in this version of the script, as well as many other people. Travis is supposed to be Michael. We'll see if he's lucky enough to stay in this one. Oh, Starbuck. We've got Chelsea joining us as Kimmy. And Logan is also joining us. Welcome, Logan, as Walter and Joe. So he's like all the male relatives. It's great. Awesome. Anyway, so without further ado, take us away.
My Best Friend's Wedding by Ronald Bass. And it's the first draft, in case you were curious. Interior Bouley Restaurant, New York, night. Dim lighting, crowd buzz, a long line of the rich, the celebrated, the congenitally impatient. Everyone in this queue holds a reservation at least an hour overdue. Tourists can't even make the line. Pan ahead to the burnished dining room. The tables of power, the elegant service. Covertly, many eyes are drawn to the one table receiving by far the most lavish service of all. Captains hover, presenting delicacies, pouring wines, murmuring obsequiously, I am so sorry, to a guest whose person they screen from our view. We can see, however, the honored guest's companion, ignored, bemused, across the table. This is Digger Downs, 36, darkly attractive, kind eyes, an intellectual's mouth, Savile Row's most unobtrusive and conservative chalk-striped suit. He is gay, but you wouldn't guess it. Loyal and wise and generous, and you might. He watches us with a quiet twinkle as the captains now step back, revealing to us their most unlikely icon. Julianne Potter, almost 28, wears her favorite bulky sweater over a bunch of other stuff she pulled together in 15 seconds. She is unkempt, quick, volatile, scattered, and beneath it all, perhaps because of it all, an original beauty. Dark liquid eyes, a cynical mouth, slender expressive fingers, a gorgeous Starbuck cat next to her, which point to
a variation on our squid ink risotto. Trace of Moselle to sweeten the stock.
She doesn't like that idea at all. Shoots him a sharp look of doubt that makes him smile. Murmur.
Don't kill us on this one. It's a long shot.
Places the moist lump of black rice before her. She takes a surprisingly small amount, rolls it over her tongue, makes dead flat eye contact with Digger, and nods. It's actually quite nice. The captain breathes with relief, and she turns her dark eyes to him. The tone says they're pals.
I'm writing it up as inventive and confident, which it is. Off the record, I'll need an extra boat of the ink or a salt shaker.
I'll toss a coin.
To your witcher. As the captain splits, Digger looks around at the other tables, which makes many pairs of eyes awkwardly glance away.
It is ever embarrassing having your bum kiss in public.
Your ass isn't chapped. You're not a good writer of notes.
She glances at her two remaining waiters, who shamelessly fawn nearby.
It is sad to be an editor and bask only in the reflected insincerity.
I've adjusted, thanks for asking.
She leans forward as if sharing something conspiratorial.
See the stay still. See the pull of a book like 20 chefs. It's not who I put in. It's who I leave out.
Which is everyone you couldn't get in.
Plus some guys whose food I don't really like.
Pushes the risotto across to him. He lifts a fork.
This fellow from Newsday ever call?
She shrugs, pulls a cellular out of a large, jumbled bag.
I'll buzz my machine. Inventive and confident, yeah?
She dials. He tastes.
Need salt.
It's a Newsday Real interview or just some cute guy you're setting me up with.
I don't send you men anymore. You don't know what to do with them.
She's punching in her code.
Sometimes I do. Like for 2 months.
Weeks.
Over the phone, we hear her answering machine.
Hey, it's Michael.
And her face changes, warms begrudgingly, just to hear the guileless voice.
God, it must be what? Months? I can't wait to talk to you. I'm in Chicago at the Ritz-Carlton.
She looks impressed and surprised. Fancy place for this guy.
Call me 4 in the morning, whatever. We gotta talk.
As she hangs up, she still has that look in her eye. Digger has never seen that, and he likes it very much.
Who called? The man of the moment?
She smiles, a sweet, natural smile that makes us like her too. The bohemian sophisticate has vanished.
No, the opposite. It's my best friend, Michael O'Neill. He sounds desperate to talk.
Ah, the wandering sports writer.
He pushes the risotto back her way.
I didn't know you two had a past.
Her gaze sharpens. Huh?
Look in your eye.
She blushes, shakes her head. No way.
Sophomore year, you're not a parrot. Sophomore year at Yale, and we had this one hot month, and you know me, I got restless.
He knows her. She got restless.
So I get up the nerve to break his heart. I tell him there's this dreamy exchange student from Pakistan who wants to,
He knows.
And he gets this look. He says, I knew I couldn't hold on to your interest, which of course makes me feel like a shallow bitch that I've always been.
He nods. Yeah.
Then he says, but what makes me want to cry is I'm losing the best friend I ever had.
Here's the feeling in her voice.
When he said it, I knew. I felt the same.
Silence now. She covers with a smile.
So I cried for like maybe the 3rd time in my life, and I kissed him. And we've been best friends ever since.
Ever since. Fingers turning her wine glass.
9 years, and we've seen each other through everything. Losing jobs, losing parents, losing lovers, traveled all over. We've had the best times. The best times of my life, maybe just drinking and talking, even over the phone.
Kindred spirits.
No, he's nothing like me. He's like you, only straight.
No offense taken.
He's the salt of the earth, kind of loyal and generous. The one constant thing in my life is he'll always be there.
He's still in love with you.
That stops her. She has to say,
Maybe, but it never gets in that way. Or gets in the way.
Sorry about that, girl. Something she probably hasn't confessed out loud before. Digger understands.
Well, she has a true friend in you.
He wants her to know that he sees that.
Whenever George tells someone how steadfast I am, he always makes me sound boring.
Ugh, solid and genuine is not boring. Michael can be completely insane.
A young waiter arrives, sets a boat of black squid ink beside her plate.
There was this one night in Tucson, like 6 years ago. We got amazingly drunk. I mean, Keith Richards time, right?
The kid tops off her glass of Mersalt? The fuck kind of wine is that? I gotta look that up later. Looking at her.
God, I haven't thought of this in so long.
The waiter
I can't
hanging
even
now.
believe you did this.
And that waiter is openly listening.
Yeah. Could you give us a minute?
Okay. Digger sees the guy listening, gestures to her with his eyes. So she looks up. And the kid is stunned and speechless. I know, I'm sorry, I'm going. I took a beat. People lose jobs for a lot less.
You won't miss much, I promise. There was no sex.
He reddens and then disappears.
I've lost interest.
Come on. He takes the razor from his dinky little dop kit, cuts his fingertip, takes my hand, does the same to me.
She places the tips of her index fingers together.
Blood oath.
Blood oath. Yep. He says, swear, when we're both 20, if we've never been married, we marry each other.
And laughs again. Can you believe that? But Digger isn't smiling. She wonders why. Begins to spoon black squid ink onto her risotto.
He figured that would be a sign from God or someone of comparable authority that we misunderstood our destinies.
Still has this real serious look. She's still
Okay.
spooning ink.
We never talked about it again. I don't know what made me think of it.
And everything stops. She lifts her spoon, mesmerized by the gravity of his tone.
You'll be 28 in 3 weeks. How old is he?
Holy fucking shit! It hits her like a ton of lead bricks. She shovels some swampy risotto into her mouth without looking.
You think?
Desperate to talk?
She shovels in more drippy black goop. It is really disgusting.
He's not proposing marriage. There's no way I mind one of the.
Then why are you compulsively eating if you're not hysterical?
More goes in, her lips and mouth completely black, like a circus clown.
You can't do it. Can't do that to me.
We're about to find out.
Ink is now dribbling out of the black hole of her mouth and down her face. She absently dabs a napkin, keeping some of it from reaching her sweater.
And I turn him down.
She realizes the full weight of the truth.
We'll never be the same.
I have a suggestion.
I'll have to kill myself before I call him.
Staring in each other's eyes.
That was it.
Interior Julianne's bathroom. Late night. Julianne furiously scrubs her blackened tongue with a toothbrush. Gray foam pours from her mouth, spattering the oversized basketball jersey she wears as a nightshirt. In the mirror, her troubled eyes dwell on Michael. Girl. Flicked to the cordless phone standing ominously on the closed toilet lid. She spits, stick her tongue way out. Blah. Incredibly black. Wow, mine was actually tinted. What? Great. Depressed, terrified, and disfigured for life. She snatches up the hated phone and wanders aimlessly into her bedroom. West Village view. Jesus, I'm jealous. Defiantly jumbled, aggressively eclectic. Eclectic? Jesus, I'm Travis. Traces of wonderful taste mixed with a I like it. You got a problem with that? She stumbles around, rehearsing.
This is awkward timing, Michael. I just joined this convent. And, they never give you your deposit back.
Stops. Full-length mirror. She straightens her hair to look her best.
Michael, I'm married.
Not enough.
And I have 2 weeks to live.
Changes tone.
Michael, I'm trying to be gay. Don't confuse me.
She turns to continue pacing and walks straight into a dresser. Stuns her momentarily. Enough already! She punches up the number, primping absently in the mirror. When it connects,
I was calling Michael O'Neill, but seeing it so late, I could just leave a message.
no such luck. Cut off. Waits. And then...
Good evening, sir. You've been enrolled in the obscene phone call of the month. And
Hey, God, it's so good to hear your voice.
She forgets herself because it's good to hear his too.
I've been calling for days.
yeah, well, my old machine kept eating messages. I tried to constructively ignoring it in hopes of improvement, but finally,
Look, I have to ask you something.
She swallows.
Something so incredibly important that if you turn me down, I don't know what I'll do with myself.
I just have to tell you this one thing first, okay? I mean, this will hand you the biggest laugh of your adult life.
Silence. Come on, girl. Suck it up.
I was thinking about you, and I remember this unbelievably insane night we spent together in Tucson, like 1,000 years ago.
More silence. really quiet.
I mean, there's no way you could possibly remember.
Are you kidding?
Stops her, like a brick wall. The sweetness in his voice.
I think about that night all the time.
She's going to have a heart attack.
But it's not why I called.
She blinks. It's not. And just as a tsunami of relief begins to sweep away,
I called because I met someone.
and her smile breaks off like a spine snapping, because there is something in his voice.
Ah, well, that's great. That's great. You haven't really had anybody since Dingback Jenny Lee.
You don't understand. I've never felt this way about anybody.
Never. She sits down, hard, right on the floor.
And she's all wrong for me.
Well, sometime.
I mean, she's a junior at Chicago University. She's 20 years old, like when I first met you.
Like when Julianne's mouth is suddenly dry.
And her dad is like this billionaire who owns the White Sox and some cable empire. And you know how I've always been miserably awkward around those kind of stuffed suits.
She's finally making her mouth work.
Well, sure.
But they're so down to earth, such wonderful people.
You've met her parents.
Well, sure.
Wow.
See, we're getting married this Sunday.
There's a knife in her heart and she can scarcely breathe.
But Michael, it's Wednesday night. You can't possibly get me married on Sunday. I just don't really...
It all starts tomorrow. It's one of those 4-day weddings with all the traditional events and 10 million people flying in from Madagascar such.
I mean, aren't you working this weekend? I mean, is that responsible?
Well, the Sox are at home. See, I've been letting me do a profile on the Big Hurt. That's Frank.
Thomas, yeah.
She's staring at herself in the mirror.
Jules, I'm scared.
A straw to lunge at.
Well, maybe we should talk about...
I need you.
So heartfelt. A lifetime of emotion welling in her eyes.
If you can't come and hold my hand, I'll never get through this.
Oh.
Please, come, please.
Ooh,
I can't wait for you to meet her.
Hold on, Julianne, staring in the mirror, like watching the end of her life. Interior bedroom later. The closet, the armoire, all the drawers are wide open. 2 huge suitcases open on the bed, into which Julianne is flinging clothes as she fumbles to smoke and dial at the same time. Over the phone now.
You've reached Digger and George. Brevity will be appreciated.
Beep.
hey, it's me again. Why aren't you guys up having safe sex?
Snatches up a tiny, clingy, sexy dress. Pouts at it.
Or, in the alternative, why aren't you interrupting it to answer?
She holds the dress against her body. It's hot.
You. It's all about you, isn't it?
Girl. She clicks off, checks the dress in the mirror, raises the short skirt a little higher. Hoochie mama, yas. Interior Diggers karaoke. Cherokee? Karaoke? Jesus.
Doing karaoke.
Cherokee.
That word.
Cherokee. JFK Airport early morning. I'm so sorry. Digger driving. I miss karaoke. The open air Cherokee up the ramp to United Airlines departures. Julianne, wind whipped, trying to light a fresh cigarette from the butt of the last one. He glances over. Hates to see this.
You can't get lung cancer and die in 4 days. Go to plan B.
She sucks deep. Really deep.
You have no appropriate sense of emergency. My best friend is ruining my life.
Yes, he is.
I'm sorry, he's ruining his life.
No, he's ruining yours.
Yeah. I can't do this tonight. Same difference. If you love someone, it's your duty to save them from themselves, especially from themselves.
You have a real philosophy of life.
It's called the law of love, asshole.
Just remember you didn't say karaoke, okay? She is tight enough to snap, and at the edge of tears, staring out at the sky caps, clinging to her cigarette as he eases to the curb.
Why don't we have a drink? You can catch a later flight. You know, some little later.
I'm sorry, there we go. Sorry, my script jumped. I'm a busy girl. I've got 4 days to break up a wedding and steal the bride's fella.
She finally looks at him. He doesn't say anything.
He's adored me for 9 goddamn years.
I can see why.
She knows him for what, maybe 5 seconds, and plus she has billions of dollars, plus she's perfect, so don't go feeling sorry for Miss Preachy Illinois.
He's not. So her voice softens, which shows the hurt.
And don't go feeling sorry for me. You don't know me that well. We're only friends.
Stand corrected.
Tears now. Stand in
God,
her
I make
eyes?
this. I don't know what that means either.
I
I'm
don't
making
know,
a big
sorry.
mistake, huh?
Maybe you'll learn something.
He wraps his hand over hers, and she looks down at it.
I'm gonna bring him back, man, against all odds, because if I don't,
She wraps her fingers around his,
I gotta live forever with it.
looks in his eyes.
And at my wedding, I'll be the only bride with her own best man.
And she kisses his cheek, jumps out of his car before she cries, yanks her bags from the back. Brave smile, they trade small salutes. And then she's gone. Interior O'Hara Airport, Chicago, morning. The jetway disgorging passengers. Why would you say that word? Weird. Anyway, into the swarming ant colony. Okay, that's why. Called O'Hare. Julianne lugging multiple carry-ons, trying to pull flyaway strands of her hair into place, nervous as a schoolgirl, looking all around, and there he is. Michael is tall and square-shouldered, a boyish grin, and an unruly shock of hair. He looks gorgeous, sweet, and just dangerous enough to be irresistible. Worthwhile stakes. His face lights to see her, and she runs to his arms, shedding bags along the way, slamming off heedless civilians to be swept off the earth in strong arms, spun around, laughing like crazy, their cheeks tight together, and when he sets her down, he kisses her nose. His arms are still around her.
Can you believe it? Can you believe I'm actually gonna do this?
Not hardly.
He beams, turns, she follows his gaze, and there she is. Kimberly Wallace is 20, small and slender, with an adorable kitty cat perched on her desk.
Which one's Kimberly?
Small and slender, but is a body to die for. The face is striking. Not at all perky and vapid, but lovely and interesting. Holds many secrets. That cat's eyes do. And then worst of all, intelligent. She walks towards them purposefully, her eyes locked to see the woman in her fiancé's arms. At the last moment, Michael releases Julianne, and Kimmy throws her arms around the startled visitor, holds her tight, with such genuine warmth that Julianne can only slowly hug back as Michael beams.
This just makes everything so perfect.
You can't. Her arms stay around the slightly dazed Julianne. The younger girl leans close, confides.
All I've heard from the day I met Michael is Julianne and Julianne that.
Well, we're yeah, we're
I think the best part of marrying this guy is finding you.
Pale gray eyes, alive with joy and intimacy.
I've never had a sister. Only
Interior,
that.
Interior Kimmy's convertible day. Kimmy tearing down the throughway in her Mercedes 500 SL, a dashing, confident driver. Which means she's speeding like crazy. Julianne riding shotgun, hair flying, a total wreck in the open convertible. Michael is happily crouched on the little platform behind their seats, hugging his knees. The roar of the wind makes it impossible for him to hear them.
My heart's in my throat here. Right off. I have to ask this monstrous favor.
You need a
You
few.
need a few
Oop, that's your
dollars.
line. I am sorry, girl.
You
Kim
need a
glances
few
over
dollars.
it. Yep. This is me. At 80 miles an hour. Looking bittersweet. Yeah.
Try, just like he said.
Her eyes at once admiring and regretful.
Excuse me?
I swear to
Don't
God.
talk back. Excuse me?
I can be quick. I can even be funny,
Shakes her head, an endearing youngster.
but I can't be dry.
Can you watch the road?
See? Dry. It's all in the delivery.
She looks back to the highway.
This is a very presumptuous, very burdensome favor.
You want me a menage on your wedding night?
No, that wouldn't be burdensome.
Julianne studying the delicate angular profile. Hard not to like this kid.
My classmate Angelique shattered her pelvis line dancing in Abilene on spring break.
Looks over, the sweetest smile.
Be my maid of honor?
Julianne just blinks.
You can't believe what it cost to bring in a temp.
How about promoting a bridesmaid? You know, someone you've known for at least 45 minutes.
We cut off a huge semi who blasts his horn. Kimmy fearless, oblivious, and analytical.
The bridesmaids are my only two female relatives under 40, identical twin debutantes from Nashville who are basically vengeful sluts with amazing bodies.
Wow, which was the disqualifying factor?
The twin part. I like to remain impartial in my contempt.
Sees the off ramp and slices across 4 lanes of speeding bullets in a heart stopping nanosecond. This kid could drive for Penske. Julianne has to pound her chest to get her heart started. Looks back to see if Michael fell out. He is absurdly windblown. Gives her a beautiful grinning thumbs up. He loves this stuff.
This means I have 4 days to make you my new best friend.
Brings Julianne's eyes back.
And since I already know everything about you, including intimate facts I'm mortified to have heard, but too envious to forget, it's time for you to learn about me.
Easing off the freeway, she meets Julianne's glance.
Force yourself to get personal.
Sounds like a plan.
Oofda. Interior dress shop, North Michigan Avenue, morning. The place is stunning. High ceiling, soft light, large rococo mirrors, Louis XIV sofas and chairs. Oops. Michael wanders restlessly, fish out of water among designer displays and stylish female patrons. Takes a look at his watch. Interior dressing room, morning. A period sitting room, ringed with mirrors along its tapestried walls. Kimmy sits on a Louis XIII's love seat next to a stack of costly gowns, watching with an expertise beyond her years as Julianne stands on a platform, a seamstress fitting her into a sleek, pale, daffodil-colored gown. Ugh. There are pins everywhere as the seamstress struggles toward a perfect fit, continuously looking to Kim for approval.
If you'd rather the lilac.
Julianne shakes her head. This one is beautiful.
I thought the bridesmaids all had to wear the same dress.
Not you. You won't be comfortable unless you're distinctive.
Julianne glances over.
What else did he tell you?
You hate weddings. You never go.
Oh, well, yeah.
You're not up for anything conventional or popularly assumed to be female priorities, including marriage or romance or even...
And she stops, not wanting to offend.
Not even love.
The look holds. The seamstress keeps working as if she's deaf.
That's why Michael and I were the wrong fit right from the start.
He said that too.
I am sorry, girl. Your cat's distracting me. She stands up, walks on the platform, smooths her hand over the fabric down Julianne's back, along her hips, communicating to the seamstress with her irritated expression.
Well, I thought I was like you, and proud to be, until I met rumpled, smelly old Michael.
Pins start to come out. Kimmy points. These two.
And then I found I was just a sentimental schmuck, like all those flighty nitwits I'd always pitied.
She leans forward so they can look at each other.
Funny world, huh?
Julianne swallows. It is that.
I need to smoke.
And before anyone can breathe, she steps off the platform, ripping the living shit out of the gown, right down the side. The seamstress's eyes flash open in abject horror. Julianne, a deer in headlights, looks quickly around at the evidence of her screw-up in 6 different mirrors. Kimberly just steps to her, fingers the tear.
It's mostly the seam. Let's get this to Carlos.
And unzips Julianne down the back. In her rush to step out, Julianne stumbles, but her arms are pinned by the pulled-down dress, and she just topples like a felled oak. Thudding on her face, the gown ripping some more, and the seamstress screaming like an idiot. Then, silence. Julianne looking up helplessly, a trussed hog bound in her dress.
Just don't move.
Like you talk to a 3-year-old. Deftly, Kimmy pulls the dress free, leaving Julianne in her underwear. Signals to the seamstress, let's go.
Don't you have to be somewhere? Like,
Just my bridal shower, and Michael has to meet our dads and the groomsmen at Comiskey for a 1:30 game.
Opens the door.
Other than that,
Clothes solid. Gone. Interior dressing room later. Julianne sits on the love seat in her bra and panties, lighting one cigarette from the butt of another. Excuse me. Suddenly, she hears an argument outside the door, strains to listen. It does sound like Michael and Kim. We can't make out the words. She jumps up, dashes for the door, stubbing her toe on the platform. Shit! Falls heavily against the door with a thud that makes her wince, and the argument stops. Damn. She opens the door a crack, sees nothing, opens it wider to reveal a teenage boy looking right at her. He sends a true shit-eating grin, and she slams the door hard enough to rattle walls. She paces furiously, helplessly, arms around her half-naked self until soft knock. The door opens a crack, and her daffodil gown comes through it.
come in and shut that
Stops, because it's Michael who's entered, with the dress.
door.
So he does. She flushes and snatches up her own clothes, which were characteristically tangled in a heap, and tries desperately to untangle them enough to cover herself. He is amazed and amused by her embarrassment.
Should I turn around or something?
Michael, I'm in my underwear.
She's tearing at her clothes, only making more of a mess.
We've seen each other a lot more naked than this.
She seems ready to rip her clothes apart, so he gently takes them from her hands. She tries to stand unselfconsciously as he easily untangles them.
I mean, we were skinny dipping in Greece just as pals less than 2 years ago.
She grabs the clothes and covers the front of herself, looking at him with a mix of emotions she couldn't begin to sort out.
Things are different now.
He looks in her eyes and nods a little sadly. Guess they are.
Well, I leave with 2 thoughts in my mind.
He walks to the door, puts his hand on the latch, looks back.
You're still a very pretty girl.
The look holds. And holds. There is such feeling on both sides, she doesn't know what to make of it. She swallows.
What's the sec?
Mirrors.
And he's gone. She looks around at 6 different views of her uncovered backside. Interior hotel underground garage day. The parking valets wait by their stand as the convertible pulls up. These girls must be late for something, the way that they're jumping out of the car.
Luckiest guy in the northern fucking hemisphere is all I'm saying.
what? Because I'm a little understanding?
Most sentimental schmucks I pity want a honeymoon after their wedding, just to top it off.
The valet gives Kimmy her ticket.
I can't expect the NBA to hold up the playoffs.
They're walking fast towards the garage elevators.
I'm excited Sports Illustrated gave him this kind of shot. He's only there a year.
So your honeymoon is exactly where?
Well,
It depends. If San Antonio sweeps Sacramento, we could start there. Or Phoenix. Or depending on Indiana, Cleveland.
Garden sports. Yeah. Little swing of maybe 50 degrees Fahrenheit represents a packing challenge, but there's a fine food and cocktails at a choice of Embassy Suites.
at the elevator, Kimmy slams the button.
It's his career. I'm supportive. Look, I've been everywhere. I've seen the world. I've laid on a beach. I want to be with the man I love. That's what makes it a honeymoon.
End of story, okay?
I'm just saying he's lucky.
An empty elevator arrives. They get in.
Takes one woman with $1 billion to put up with his array of shit. The guy is one-man festival of idiosyncrasies.
Kimmy slams the penthouse button, looks at her calmly. Go on.
Well, you've been introduced to the symphonic rage of.
His snoring? Yeah. He says it's worse than ever. That snaffle one?
Julianne imitates an incredibly annoying, yup, there it is. That high-pitched snarl 3 times. Kimmy nods.
Well, now it has this sort of phlegm rattle behind it.
Stopped at the lobby. A family of 4 gets in. Oblivious, Kimmy demonstrates the phlegm rattle. Really gets into it. That was brilliant. As the family watches, Julianne tries her own version. Like that? No. More like this. The family is looking at each other.
Guess what? Earplugs work.
Oh, how about.
Cigars in bed? Yeah, I broke him on that. But the bedroom's a swamp. He wears Reeboks to dinner, tells the same, admittedly funny, jokes 300 times.
Sucks in a breath.
Loves action movies, subscribes to Playboy for God's sake, reads over my shoulder, can't keep track of the checks he writes.
9th floor. The family gets out. The door closes.
He sucks soup in through his front teeth.
A trademark move. Don't touch it.
But he sure can kiss.
It's been a while, but I'll take your word.
After 2 weeks of cataloging all his faults, I made a command decision that changed my life.
She slams the emergency stop button. We jolt to a halt.
I threw the list away.
Shakes her head.
He's not a balance sheet. So many wonderful qualities, so many faults. He's Michael.
From her heart.
And loving him means loving all of this.
Sorry, I was kissing my cat. Do you get nervous in small confined spaces?
So sweet. It's so sweet of you to be so protective.
Let me rephrase that.
But nothing ever could, ever did give me a moment's pause about this marriage.
Do you get hysterical in small confined space?
Except one.
Julianne's face. Stops.
Oh, yeah.
Kimmy nods. Confides.
You.
A stopper.
You'll always be there, in his mind, the perfect creature he loved for all those years.
Oh, perfection can get wearing after a while.
I'm not joking. I had to face up to all my competitive drives, and believe me, I've got them.
Okay. No.
And the answer was so simple.
How was I going to predict that?
You win.
Julianne blinks. Excuse me?
You're enshrined in his heart and memory, unassailable, which works out great.
Missed a step.
He has you on a pedestal and me in his arms.
Oh. Julianne smiles, lunges for the emergency button, yanking it so hard it comes off in her hand. A terrifying buzzer ensures.
Jesus, we're trapped.
Julie,
No, this happened to me once. Almost, it was excruciating.
Begins banging random buttons, out of control. Kimmy watching this. Julianne looks wildly up.
There's a panel up there. You could boost me.
Ripping off her platform shoes.
Okay. All right. You know how little air is in these things? I've seen the statistics. Once you're trapped between floors,
Kimmy taps her, points to the lighted panel. It says penthouse. They've reached the penthouse.
Oh God, then the door is jammed.
Takes a heavy platform and begins banging the metal door with all her strength, sending resounding booms through the area. As Kimmy reaches and presses door open. The metal doors part, opening directly onto the banquet room just as a mighty blow comes down and the platform flies from Julianne's hand straight between 2 identical stunning young women serving as twin hostesses for the shower. A beat of mutually stupefied looks and we hear the shoe crash somewhere to a small spattering of shrieks. Mandy?
My God, it's the bride and the woman she'll never live up to.
that would be us. Did she say the wrong thing again? It's so in character.
Amanda and Samantha Newhouse, 19-year-old twins, true Southern belles with the faces of angels and bodies made for hot oil wrestling. Mandy's hair is dyed ash blonde. Sammy's is amber. Otherwise, the experience is similar.
Sorry, a man clearly wrote this, right? I'm Julianne Potter, and
We'd be the vengeful sluts. We come in complimentary colors.
Have you sized up the groomsmen, Jules? As M of H, you get first fuck. Don't pick the short, hairy, rich one.
unless he has a home.
The girls cast identical blank looks at Kimberly.
Dry. I told you. Is this Michael's Julianne?
Shit, sorry.
All eyes turn to an elegant woman of barely 40. She has her daughter's hair and eyes and slender form, but the bearing rules half an empire. Fonda would envy.
I'm Isabel Wallace, and my handsome new son scarcely did you justice, girl.
Oh my god, I love you. She takes both of Julianne's hands, and our heroine is sort of magically charmed, as if touched by Glinda the Good Witch of the North.
Now, my husband says to scoot you over to the ballpark so you can hang with Michael. But first, you have to meet a lot of really old women.
Looking warmly in her eyes.
That is, if you've absorbed enough profanity.
Flicks a glance at the twins. Leads Julianne off.
He said one fuck.
Interior taxi, Southside Day. Cab crawling towards Comiskey Park through stifling traffic. Julianne oblivious, cellular to her ear.
Oh, desperate measures. Do you hear me? Digger, are you the...
Quack! Static. Then...
I don't know. Hitman? Whoopee cushions? Saltpeter? Something! The girl is impossibly impregnable. Even I want her to get the guy.
listens.
Tell him the what? The truth.
She shakes her head. What a guy.
That desperate. May I never get that desperate.
Interior luxury box, Comiskey Park afternoon. Game in progress. Watched by Michael, 3 groomsmen his age, 2 middle-aged men, and 1 bodyguard. Suddenly, a dull thumping at the door. It keeps up. They finally all look over. The bodyguard gets the door, revealing...
Oh, here we are at Comiskey Park. Which of you gents ordered 2 beers?
1 single tray, holding 14 beers, balancing on one hand. Yeah, get it, girl. Michael jumps up, terrified at the impending mayhem this sight suggests.
Well, let me give you a
Michael, you unwittingly imply that I am clumsy.
He stops in his tracks, the guys whistle.
think of that, and as well as I know you.
She goes first to the bodyguard.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm on duty.
It's miss, and thanks. That leaves 2 for me.
Heads down the row.
Julian Potter, this is Hank and Jerry from SI, and you know Danielle.
SI, as in Staten Island, you fuck. She's
Yeah.
nodding, flawlessly plucking
Sports
2 beers
Illustrated.
from the perimeter of the tray, keeping the rest perfectly balanced in the center. Michael is flat, dumbstruck. Next, a tall patrician gentleman with rolled-up sleeves on his hand-stitched silk shirt.
Oh, this is my father-in-law, Walter.
Once again, she gracefully plucks 2 beers for the distinguished father-in-law.
How are you doing this? You're on drugs.
Sets them down. The man has a smile wonderful in its ease. Murmurs.
If he gives you grief, I'll have him skillfully beaten where the wounds won't show.
Well, I guess I'm getting him whacked would be politically out of the question.
Under the circumstances. Charmed to know you, Jules.
Nice meeting you too, Walt.
A nod between equals. She moves on.
And this guy, you know.
She sure does, and effortlessly balancing her one-hand load, she dips to kiss a porky, balding guy with big-time shoulders, straight on the lips.
Papa Joe!
They go way back. He is uncomfortable at this rich man's wedding, even as gracious as everyone has been. His watering eyes twinkle at her, and the voice has a trace of Boston.
You gonna be my boy's best man?
Despite shouts from the others.
Best everything, Joe, but I'm gonna dance with you.
Dance? You don't dance even though I know you can. You learn to dance?
Her innocent smile.
I've got moves you've never seen.
Big reaction from the guys as she heads towards Michael with the last of the beers, not looking down at the fielder's mitt, which lies right in her path. And as his lips part to scream a warning, she skips neatly around it. He's in shock.
You're an imposter. What have you done with my best friend?
As he takes away the remaining beers,
And how was the hot dog?
hot dog? His eyes fix on her left breast. Huge mustard stain. She can't believe it.
Cheap and unnecessary. We're looking anyway.
Exterior luxury box roof day. Michael and Julianne sit with their beers on the edge of the luxury box roof. The game, the stadium spread out beneath them, yet they are alone in the world. She dangles her legs and we can hear her kicking the glass below.
I just admire your maturity, that's all. I mean, there are people who would find that kind of perfection boring. Day after day, year after year.
See, that's what I thought at first. How can you like someone that perfect? No potential for long-range livability.
There you go. Third time's the charm. Drinking their beers, side by side. Both stare only at the game.
Luckily, the closer I watched, the more the fault came into focus. Each imperfection, its own adorable slice of vulnerability.
Such as,
She's too genuine.
hate that.
How can you trust someone you can never mistrust?
Okay, what's next?
Keep sipping. Never look at each other.
No matter how many times I leave the toilet seat up, she forgets and puts it down.
Endearingly absent-minded?
My very point. Here's another one.
Shakes his head. This one really gets him.
Every day she makes the bed.
Quite a little eccentric.
At first I thought it was a gag, but she's always done it.
This is not the ammunition Julianne was hoping for.
Is there a, coup de grace in here somewhere?
She admires Tommy Lasorda.
Waiter, check, please.
She finds him personable.
Can that kind of defect be passed on genetically?
She looks over now, and Michael is looking back, smiling the most wonderful smile. Her reaction shows that she thinks it's for her until
Then again, she has a few good traits.
hating herself for asking, but seeing no way out.
Give me 8 and 9 off the top of the 10 list.
First girl I ever knew who lets me give her a bath.
The look in his eyes, she can hardly bear it.
And when I hug her, even in public, I don't have to let go right away. She lets me hold on her as long as I want.
He seems so deeply in love.
Nice kid, but nice kid, don't you think?
A beat, a slow nod, a quiet
Looks like from here.
interior Southside Club night. A slender black woman sings a soaring gospel number, backed by 3 ladies who could each solo in any church choir. It is mesmerizing, stirring, transcendent. The unseen audience clapping fiercely in rhythm, shouting support. Slow pan now. Every face is black. We aren't in church at all, but a venerable blues club. One of those places you'd swear everybody's played, from Robert Johnson to Bessie Smith and back again. As the song ends, there is applause, some rapping on tables with their knuckles or their drinks? Not drunks. Maybe the drunks are drinking their drinks and snapping their knuckles. I don't know. Anyway, we keep panning to a far corner. 3 faces. Julianne leans across her beer to Kimmy.
How'd you find this place?
Kim shaking her head. Whoop, looks admiringly to Michael.
Lived here my whole life, never heard of it until our first date.
She reaches slender fingers, traces one back along his hair.
He finds all these spots everywhere he goes. It's a mystical gift.
He back from the Bears knows the place.
It's not just clubs. It's this guy always knows the best everything. The best guitar store, the best beef ribs, the best Horowitz record. Was he always like that?
Always. The best dim sum, the best camping stuff,
Oh, stop, we're embarrassing him.
best valley in New Zealand, best women's shoes.
I tried those on when you weren't looking.
Now he's grinning at Julianne, and she likes that a lot.
Where was that? What, Florence? Huh?
Oh, I should know this. Perez? Perezi?
Friends.
Firenze, maybe?
Firenze,
right?
maybe.
Yeah.
Firenze, maybe.
Together in the memory as Kimmy watches.
That I don't even like you anymore. The Vespa, me hanging out behind in the rain all night.
Till the gas ran out.
And in a cool, ironic
And
twist,
then
the
I
movie's
pushed
over
her
because
and fell
Anne
off.
quits. And the first sniff of Left Out.
I love Florence.
Julianne's eyes flicker. Could this be a teensy opening? Keeps her eyes, her easy smile, and her killer instincts trained on Michael.
Oh, take her there.
He nods. Okay.
I mean, no, she's perky. She deserves a honeymoon.
He draws a breath.
I heard if San Antonio sweeps Sacramento. What is this shit? You gotta get off the road by September anyway. When does fall quarter start?
And the happy couple look at each other. They are awkward. Julianne's heart soars like an eagle.
I'm not coming back for senior year.
Could this be the mother load?
Don't architects find a degree sort of an asset?
The couple still staring in each other's eyes.
Well, the school will be here. Architecture will still be around. Right now,
I travel every week. College ball, motorsports, training camps.
the most important thing is being together.
And she smiles beautifully.
I'm just a baby. I've got all the time in the world.
Exterior club night.
Bitch.
Michael putting. Did you see my face? Because I was like, I hate you. But I love you. Michael putting Kim in the back of a cab as Julianne watches.
Because I could come.
To the twin soiree so they can paw you and drool.
They're gonna drool anyway.
Kim smiles. He kisses her tenderly through the open window. She waves past him at Julianne
Enjoy each other.
and drives off. As he watches after, Julianne comes up behind him, slips her hand onto his shoulder muscle, starts giving a little massage.
Should I whistle down a cab?
Hey, cabs are expensive. I'm cheap, remember?
Turns his head to see her. She's still rubbing his shoulder.
Sometimes about the dumbest things.
Share a smile. As always, it covers a lot of years.
The L's right down the street unless you're afraid of the neighborhood.
Oh, she looks around. It is an issue, but she remembers.
No, I'm always safe with you.
She means that. He takes her by the hand. They begin walking.
Pretty amazing girl you've got. Make that kind of sacrifice.
What, leaving school?
All of it. She's leaving her family, her friends, everything she knows. She's putting her career on hold. She seems pretty ambitious, driven kind of person.
In her way.
All to follow you in this dumb job where you travel 52 weeks a year to College Station, Texas and such. And it's not a job for a grown man, Michael. Peter Pan never married.
Tell that to Peter Banning. He's let go of her hand now, looking down at the pavement before him, fists in his jacket pockets.
I don't think she's naturally the submissive type. Aren't you afraid she's gonna choke on this stand by your man shit after a while?
No.
Hit a nerve. This is promising.
I mean, Walter owns the Sox, Cable Sports. Most girls in her spot would be angling to get daddy to offer you some juicy gig right here in the...
She would never even think of that.
Pay dirt. Julianne's Geiger counter is going berserk.
No, I guess you're right. That would be deceitful and manipulative, controlling, emasculating.
I got the point.
He looks over at her, no
Yeah.
smile on his face. An edge we haven't seen. She shrugs.
Still, all is fair in love and war.
That would be a girl I don't even know.
They've reached the stairs to the L. A rickety train rattles above them. As they start up, she slips her arm around his waist.
Forgive me, okay? I was talking crazy.
He slides his arm around her shoulder. Pals. They climb out of frame. Interior hotel bathroom, late night. Clothes on a shallow pool of water in a bathroom sink. Green powder pouring in, a hand swirling it around until
it's Albanian, I think, or Mongolian or Canadian. One of those. I bought it downstairs.
It becomes truly disgusting, lumpy green mud.
I figure, what the hell? Can it make me look worse?
Follow the hand up as it slathers the shit across her face in great green dripping gobs. She's juggling the wall phone, trying to keep it mudless as she assures Digger.
Dig. Oh, of course, I have a plan. Certainement?
I'm guessing she probably does
Oh,
it in like a
certainement.
weird French. There it is.
Certainement.
More green slime. The Julianne we know disappears.
How, I ask myself, would Lucy Ricardo do in this situation?
Desecrates 3 hotel towels, wiping her hand.
Yeah, well, one worked once.
Throws them in the bathtub. Fastidiousness, a short suit.
Ricky wouldn't let her in that show.
Reaches for her toothbrush absently. All her attention is on the conversation and the hideous green face in the mirror.
I recall it differently, but we digress.
Without looking, picks up a tube of hotel shampoo.
Okay, so in this version, you're Ethel with the better fashion instincts.
She squeezes it all over the toothbrush.
This puts you in charge of Plan B, the unprincipled and insanely dangerous backup plan.
Squeezes it. Oh, just kidding, I lied. Lifts it towards her mouth, liquid shampoo dripping from the bristles.
In case Simple Line doesn't work?
At the last second, she stops. We don't know why, because she still never looked at the brush.
Questions. What happens if you brush your teeth with shampoo?
Turns on the tap, tries to scrub the toothbrush clean, and drops the phone into the green swamp, which splatters all over her front. Ugh. She's stymied, agitated, circling the sink, leaning down to it.
Hold on, I'm coming for you.
She sets the toothbrush down and her toiletries kick, decides to yank on the phone's cord, and the receiver springs out, bopping her in the face. She's so filthy at this point, she just wipes it clean on her nightshirt. Tells Digger.
You okay? This is one of those problem phones.
It's the toothbrush and tube of paste from her kit.
Right, your role. Okay, you know guys from Sports Illustrated, yes? I mean, you can walk right in there.
Squeezes on the paste, lifts the brush to her mouth.
You can get access to Letterhead, for example.
Jams it in her mouth, brushing as...
Maybe even their fax.
Stops, the funniest look on her face, down to the toothpaste tube, which says, Bengay. Ooh. Interior Tiffany's morning. Julianne and Kimmy cruise the stately display cases. Everywhere, the Tiffany logo, the silent, watchful staff in morning coats. As they browse, Julianne takes a blueberry Danish from a paper sack and begins to eat. The staff notices, and so does Kim.
It's an homage thing.
Huh?
Awkward girls grow up on Audrey Hepburn movies. You wouldn't understand.
Kimmy doesn't, but wipes a blue glob from Julianne's face.
Anyway, I think you're wrong.
Wrong?
What you were saying before
Before?
about Michael's job.
Oh, that. I forgot I even said that.
I just think you're wrong is all.
Probably am. Forget I brought it up.
Points to some jade pins. Kimmy wrinkles her nose.
I mean, he loves his job.
Bad games, bad towns, bad pay, bad fights, bad hotels, real bad food, homeless, rootless, lonely. Maybe your copy gets into 1 issue out of 4.
Smiles.
What's not to love?
None of this is lost on Kimmy. She's wondered the same.
But he always says,
Whatever is manly and independent.
Kim nods slowly, way ahead of her.
Why would he trade that for running, say, a big piece of a PR at powerful, complex, challenging conglomerate like your dad's?
Kim stares back, a strange look.
that's just the sort of thing my father and I discussed.
Julianne just blinks, amazed.
I'm not stupid. Say, how about this?
pointing to tiny golden scissors in the novelty case. Kim's so absorbed by the main topic, she has to force herself to focus on.
For the twins? What in the world is that?
Gold nose hair clippers.
Points to the tiny hand-lettered sign. Indeed. Kimmy shrugs. Not quite it.
So you don't think Michael's as happy with his job as
Julianne points to a matched pair of large.
gold dog collars? They don't have dogs.
Hello.
Kim nods. Oh. But can't keep her mind off.
Do you think he'd accept?
Hmm?
Michael, a job like that?
Well.
Well, by any yardstick that involves sanity, it would be the greatest thing that ever happened to him. Present company accepted.
Kimmy nodding slowly, her yearning achingly apparent.
On the other hand, he's proud. Last thing a man wants to admit is being trapped in a dispiriting dead-end job that can never support a family.
A very sweet smile.
Throw a man a life preserver, he'll say, "Thanks anyway, I'd rather drown."
Kim nods again. Right, they are so bonded in this moment.
So one almost has to.
Exactly.
Exactly what?
What you said. Make it appear that he's doing you the favor.
Kimmy bites her lip. Her eyes go down, self-conscious to admit.
I couldn't really do that after, you know,
Her voice trails off.
lying all the time.
That brings the gray eyes up. Julianne bats her dark ones.
Oh, darling, my pitiful desires and ambitions are dirt beneath the manly boots of your priorities.
Kimmy has to smile small, a self-awe gal.
200 seating motels a year, dinners out of vending machines waiting for you in vermin-infested corridors of dark crotch rot locker rooms. Oh, this stuff makes me hot.
Very words I've used.
Julianne thinks it over. Kimmy waits for guidance.
We make your dad co-conspirator. Michael does a favor for Walter.
Simple.
Walter's reorganizing his public relations, needs a brilliant guy who's close to him, so who he can completely trust.
Kimmy nodding. Hope overriding reason.
So you beg and Michael, please do this for Daddy. Please, please, please. Blah, 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 blah. It's only for 6 months. It would mean so much for me for you to help him out.
Turns up her palms. Voila!
He'll see right through it.
Only if he wants to.
They share a smile.
In 6 months, he'll be happy, settled, and successful.
He won't get mad, huh?
May I be of any help whatsoever?
Mr. Mooney is the most gracious Brit salesperson ever to offer kindness, intelligence, and thoughtfulness to a customer. He is large, 60, with disappearing hair, watering eyes, and a manner that makes you think of immediately hiring a butler. Oh, Julianne.
No, I was further down on the script. I got distracted by the cat. Bridesmaids' gifts for 2. Well, assertive and outspoken Tennessee debutantes.
He won't be mad?
Oh, nothing here seems quite to capture their distinctive personalities.
Something customized, perhaps. We can fashion most any item from gold.
Ah, Julianne nodding, reflecting.
An object that might represent what is closest to their heart.
I don't even think dildo.
Julianne digs through her jumbled bag,
Can you do this?
tossing an object on the counter.
In 24 karat.
It is a MasterCard, a gold one.
Bingo.
They smile at each other, more bonded than ever.
So you don't think he'll be mad?
A beat. Can Julianne even make herself do this?
Your call. You can live a lie. I'm in a fabulous selection of Red Roof Inns, or You can make one desperate stab at happiness.
I just don't want to freak him out.
What do you think? Julianne stares into the soft gray eyes. It's now or never. The smile of a dear sister.
How mad could he get?
Interior fashion restaurant lunch hour. Julianne enters with a really nervous Kimberly in tow. Approaches the maitre d'. We close to hear.
Mr. Wallace and his guests have retired to the humidor.
Points to an escalator leading to the mezzanine. Behind a glass wall, what looks like a British men's club. 30 guys and a billion cigars. As Julianne starts towards it,
Oh, mademoiselle.
she turns back. Loves this shit.
It's unofficial, of course, but traditionally the humidor is for gentlemen only.
Great. I've got this girlfriend at the Justice Department with all this time on her hands.
Her look is every bit as hard as his. He gestures to the escalator. She takes Kimmy's hand and up they go. We can see Walter in a big leather chair enjoying a major stogie. Kimmy licks her lips. They enter. Every head turns. A nice range of reactions from offended to attracted and points in between.
Piece of cake. I'll hang and think happy thoughts.
Kimmy nods, heads over towards her father. Julianne walks confidently, even provocatively, to the wall lined with bins of cigars. Every eye in the place is on her butt. Jesus, what is it about these scripts and that ass shit happening right now? She runs her fingers over a few contenders, plucks one out, examines it, and puts it back. Walks a little farther, selects another, big and black, rolls it expertly in her fingers, sniffs along its length. A guy comes over, could be 40, successful, a broker's pinstripe, nearly as attractive as he thinks he is.
Know what you're looking for, little lady?
Sorry, little lady, huh? She glances at his coven of buddies who pretend not to notice. Then, straight to the guy's blue eyes.
Yeah. Do you?
I asked first.
Ah, wit. She holds up her cigar.
I like 'em long and hard. Kind of big around.
Runs it under her nose.
Smell is important. I'm a believer in that.
Takes a match from a cut crystal bowl.
But you never know what you've got till you run your tongue all over it.
Blech. And she does, moistening the full length of the cigar. Seriously, a dude wrote this. The boys are laughing openly. She strikes the match as she lights up.
I meant what you're looking for in a man.
She glances at his wedding ring, then straight into his eyes.
Actually, I'm partial to married gentlemen.
The way she says that, the guy swallows. We can see some of the air has been sucked from the room.
Why is that?
So much time. When I phone the wives.
Explosive laughter from the peanut gallery as she jams the big Clemente Churchill into her mouth. She sees Kimmy waving her over from across the room. Without even looking at the guy she's just put away, she crosses the room. Walter stands politely, looking very dapper, very powerful, and focusing on her with considerable interest. He waits until she sits on the edge of a costly leather hassock.
Your idea?
She can't read this guy. Maybe that's how he built an empire. She nods. Yeah.
You're a woman of insight.
He sits on the arm of his chair, close enough to speak quietly.
My wife and I love this marriage and deplore its circumstances.
He puffs his cigar. Julianne puffs hers. Kimmy looks on, a kid watching the grown-ups.
As you guessed, my daughter is unhappy about giving up her life. And in my opinion, cowardly in avoiding the necessary confrontations.
Then he stops, as if reading Julianne's eyes.
Mike has a world of ability. I'd do anything to have him in my company.
One more puff.
Kirk Ashkin.
Julianne is a little stunned. Kimmy looks helpless.
He'd resent it. And me. Most importantly, Kim.
No smile on his lips, straight talk.
He's a great kid. But he's still a kid. Instead of recognizing that his resistance comes from insecurity, he'd turn it to anger. To protect himself.
Spreads his hands.
From realizing that he's ignoring my daughter's needs, despite how much he loves her.
He looks to his daughter now.
They both have some growing up to do. But they're good people and they're starting with love. They've got time.
I think you're making a mistake, sir.
His eyes come back to her, a little sharply.
That interests me. How someone who knows him so well could be so wrong.
A formidable guy. She meets his gaze.
See, I love him too, as much as anyone here, and for a whole lot longer.
From her heart.
I think I know what best would make him happy.
Interior toilet stall day. Julianne, fully dressed, sits on the closed lid of a toilet seat. The stall is tiny enough to arouse claustrophobia in an astronaut. Her cellular phone pressed to her ear, she is listening angrily, smoking ferociously, every cell in her body running at a red line.
Okay. I hear you, all right?
She closes her eyes.
It's stupid, it's dishonest, it's desperate beyond belief, and I can't possibly ever work, but it can only end in humiliation and disgrace. Now, can I say 2 words?
Deep drag on the cigarette. For strength.
Do it.
Striped her gears. Coughs horribly.
All right, 12 words.
Interior public restroom day. Julianne exits the stall to face 3 black teenage girls just staring at her.
You do it, girl.
Julianne nods to the kids. They nod back. Damn straight. She exits the restroom into glaring sunlight. We are in the middle of the Brookfield Zoo. And sitting on a bench, eating popcorn from a bag.
Wow, what was going on in there?
She shudders.
Some crazy person.
Exterior zoo day. Michael and Julianne walking together. He's eating his popcorn. She carries a cardboard container with nachos, a gooey fudge waffle cone, and a large drink.
You're not eating?
I never eat when I'm serene.
You never eat when you're despondent.
I switched that around when you weren't looking.
She swirls a single nacho chip and cheese, but her heart isn't in it.
Last zoo we were in was Beijing, yeah? Sure, the rhinos were fucking.
Boy, those were the days.
And when she looks over, his eyes are waiting.
Yeah, they were.
They're passing the hippo pen, but they don't notice.
That was nice. When you
So-
said that.
So was that. He and me are feeling restless. Something. Doesn't know what quite to say.
It's weird being the groom. All these things Kimmy has to take care of, and
You need a babysitter. That's what I'm here for.
He holds her eyes, then looks down. Awkward. And the way he's doing it begins to excite her.
Say it.
He looks up, neither one of them noticing that as they walk, she is about to crash into a chest-high metal stand that displays animal facts.
Ow.
We have followed him as she is wiped from frame, his face from shock to amusement.
now there's my girl.
To tenderness. Pan back to see her wearing everything from her cardboard container. Nachos, fudge sauce, Diet Coke, the works. It really is awful. Kids, bystanders laughing cruelly. Her eyes fill with tears and she tries bravely to smile against it.
See, I can only do it with beer.
He takes out his handkerchief. And with that in his hands, gently scoops the worst of the mess off of her. The fact that he's touching her breasts and her body is something they pretend not to notice. She laughs softly, and a few tears fall, even though she doesn't know why. Such an odd, raw, confusing moment. To the world looking on, they are lovers.
See, better already.
That's direction for you to murmur, not go murmur at the end of your line, you dumb shit. Anyway, he kisses her face, not quite her lips, but only an inch away, and we can feel her heart pounding. He strips off his shirt, only a tank top underneath.
We'll go back to the bathroom. You'll put this on.
Okay. She sniffles. Okay. Swallows.
But you're glad I'm here to take care of you.
He puts his arm around her,
Bet I am.
holds her close as they start towards the restroom.
Hope that crazy person's not still there.
We're on their backs.
She doesn't scare me.
Exterior Beach Club, Lake Michigan, sunset. Julianne, in t-shirt and shorts, rushes onto the deck of the sprawling beach club. Clutching her bag, she quickly surveys the scene. The entire beach has been taken over by the wedding party. Young folks, Jesus, old folks, little kids, maybe 200 people. We scan with her to find a crowd around a 3-on-3 volleyball game. Kimmy and 2 groomsmen on one side facing Michael and the Tennessee Debs. The twins wear spectacular bikinis and are surprisingly athletic as well as predictably uninhibited. As the next point begins, Kimmy serves. Sammy in back makes a nice dig, lobbing to Mandy, who sets for Michael's vicious spike straight through his best man's hapless defense. The crowd cheers Michael and he turns. Mandy gives him a savage chest bump of congratulation, and that any NFL linebacker would be proud of. It puts the surprised Michael straight on his ass. Laughter, applause. The twins pull him up and Sammy gives him a hot kiss on his ear that makes the crowd react. Kim plays a good sport. Julianne watches Michael's body for a beat, then dashes off. Down the beach, several barbecue grills have been set up, manned by beach club staff and family alike. Michael's pop, Joe, is dispensing beers from a keg. Kim's mom, Isabel, is coordinating the beans, potato salad, and corn on the cob table. Julianne races across the sand to a huge smoky grill where Walter is basting baby back ribs, clearly enjoying himself. Julianne runs up to him, says something into his ear. He looks at her, and then turns his station over to a club steward and follows Julianne down toward the lakeside. Close now. As they stroll together, she's a little breathless. He's watching her profile, curious, silent, at the water's edge.
Anybody watching?
I hope so. It's too mysterious to waste on just me.
She reaches into her big bag, pulls out a single folded sheet of paper.
I picked up Michael's messages for him at our hotel. I stole one.
His face darkens. The easy smile fades. He holds up his palms.
Julianne, reading my son-in-law's mail is not something I...
Sir, this is important. Haven't you ever in your life cut one corner to make something important turn out right?
His smile returns just a little.
In fact, that's how I got married.
The look holds. She thrusts the paper out. He still doesn't take it.
It's a fax from Sports Illustrated from Ben Isaacson, Michael's boss.
Yeah, I know Ben.
She opens the paper.
Mike, we still have no answer to our email of Wednesday. Which option do you select? I don't mean to rush you, but personnel needs to tie up loose ends.
He takes the paper. We see it now. It looks authentic.
I think he's been fired.
It doesn't say that.
He said some things over the past few weeks. Look, this guy is why I came up with the idea of you offering him, or I'm sorry, this is why I came up with the idea of you offering him a job.
He looks up. He's listening closely.
And why I couldn't say anything before in front of Kim.
She bites her lip, seems so earnest.
I just think of how desperate he must be feeling. He's marrying a rich man's daughter and he's about to become a destitute. You know the kind of job market he'll be facing.
He does.
I think he's kept this to himself.
He's too proud to beg for help. And if you wait till this comes out, your offer will be likely charity. Completely humiliating.
He's staring at her, but his mind is working behind his eyes.
If you do it now, it's like he's helping you. He can accept with dignity.
He taps the paper with the back of his knuckles.
This fax could mean any number of things.
She nods. She knows that.
Maybe.
And then it could all come out. It could all come out sooner or later. Nobody should be in on this. Just you and me, or more correctly, I.
She takes the paper back.
What if I could find that email?
The long, straight look. Maybe he's hooked.
I never noticed. Kimmy has your eyes.
Interior lobby, Ritz-Carlton Hotel, twilight. Tall, gangly, young desk clerk. Lank hair, pimples. He looks up, beams to see.
Hello again.
She's flirting her ass off.
You still haven't straightened that tie.
And she reaches across the desk, sorry, not the deck, with her lovely slender hands. Does it for him. Her fingers brush his chest on the way back. We can assume a Woody.
You know, my friend, the one whose message I picked up,
He does. His eyes flick towards his stately female supervisor, helping another guest across the way.
well, he's still with the wedding party, and he asked me to get something he needs real badly from his room.
The boy swallows hard.
He's in 1526. If you could just let me.
See that woman?
Not only does Julianne see her, the woman is looking back while she's talking to her customer. Not a pleasant look.
She said if I ever pull a stunt like that again,
You'll lose your job.
tear my pecker off, is what she said.
Interior hotel corridor, Twilight. That seems a little extra. An elevator opens, revealing Julianne carrying a gym bag. She looks down the long hallway, sees a maid's cart, heads the other way briskly to a small alcove, opens the gym bag, pulling out a bath towel, begins to yank her top up over her head, angle the young maid now pushing her cart down the hall, wheels squeaking, and from nowhere, Julianne darts into her path, barely covered by the towel held tight across her. She is grinning, blushing.
Help me!
The maid can only blink
I locked myself out. 1526, please hurry.
and looks frantically up the hall, mortified that any moment a stranger could happen upon her predicament. Her eyes dart back to the maid. Please! The maid just stares and stares.
Uno, cinco, dos, seis.
Oh, interior Michael's room, Twilight. Julianne alone in his room, looking around frantically. No worries about this guy making his bed every day. Stuff, clothes, strewn everywhere. The bathroom looks like a cherry bomb just detonated. She's tramping through a bachelor's debris, wearing only her towel, looking. There it is, the corner of his laptop sticking out from beneath a discarded bedspread. She snatches it up, opens it, and sets it on the cluttered desk and stops. There are wallet-sized snapshots of Kimmy, some alone, some as a little girl, some with Michael, and next to them, the plastic fold-out wallet inset that he has not yet quite rearranged, so she picks it up, leafs through until she finds what she was praying would be there. Julianne grinning, Michael's arm around her, on the deck of a boat. They have drinks in their hands, happiness in their eyes, and she stares at it. Jesus, God, how long has he carried this around? She flips through further, all the rest have her in him. Maybe half a dozen. Her heart is throbbing, her eyes are damp. Back to the one on the boat. She slips it from the plastic window, holds it, then gently puts it back where it belongs. Punches up the goddamn laptop. This is it, girl. Do or die.
You wouldn't change your password, would you? You never change anything.
Those words make her bite her lip. Damn, I'm becoming a sentimental slob. Types in,
Shoeless Joe.
yes, we're in. Punching keys, letters flying across the screen. Okay, we're ready. And types.
Mike, I hate this downsizing shit as much as you do, but I know this can't become as complete surprise.
Interior beach club card room evening. Through the window, the wedding party barbecue is extended into the night. Lanterns, music, lots more food, lots more drinks. In the distance, on the sand, Michael is slow dancing with Kimmy. Somewhere nearby, the soft clicking of keys. We pull back to see a small, clubby room. Books, leather, polished woods. Only two people here, Walter looking on stony-faced as a determined Julianne grimly struggles to find what she's looking for in Michael's laptop, and then she stops typing, looks at the text on the screen. Her eyes sharpen as she reads what Walter can't see. It's an Oscar performance for our desperate girl. She turns the screen around.
Mike, I hate this downsizing.
He reads and reads and reads. All the air comes out of him.
Kimmy doesn't know.
She shakes her head. Nope, no way.
I'll tell her I've reconsidered.
She nods gravely. Right. He looks her in the eyes.
You're a smart girl, Jules.
She forces up a fleeting smile of gratitude, but Walter isn't smiling at all.
My daughter had your guts.
Interior Charles Trotter's bar night. The hot saloon in Chinatown, upscale, downscale, jammed. Michael and Kimmy at a small table in a far corner, close on them. Oh, Michael.
Damn it, Travis.
I'm here. Sure, you're okay?
You want to get on camera since you're on freaking screen? Thank ya. She looks really scared, turns her drink in her hand, and she looks down at it.
It's not just a gag, huh?
No, it's a real big favor.
He takes her hand tenderly.
I wish you could just come out with it. I mean, why are we waiting for Jules?
She smiles up at him, the best she can.
Moral support?
She loves him so much and she is sick with worry.
What's good of having a big sister if she,
Stops, gestures with her eyes because her big sister has just entered. Looking fabulous! Julianne wears a long sleek sarong, slightly see-through. Her hair is bound up with silver pins. As she moves through the room towards us, we can see that, for once, her makeup is flawless, understated. When she arrives at the table, Michael is beaming admiringly. He stands up.
Wow, and wow, you have a date after this?
Never can tell.
Holds her chair. She exchanges an intimate smile with the anxious Kim.
You make me think of that song we used to.
And he starts humming. Yay, karaoke! The song is The Way You Look Tonight.
Someday when I'm awfully low.
They sit. Oh, Frank Sinatra's like dying in his grave somewhere. Anyway.
Yeah.
I hope so. They buried him.
Shut up, Travis. It's a turn of phrase. Anyway, he looks from Julianne to his bride.
Okay, kid, you're on.
Kim's eyes flick to Julianne, who nods supportively. The kid takes a breath.
it's really my father who needs the favor.
His face sort of comes to a stop. Nothing she can read yet. He nods, yeah.
He's reorganizing some of the divisions of the company.
His eyes flick to Julianne. She looks down.
I never mentioned that. Neither did you. Neither did you.
Kimmy.
He needs someone incredible, someone really close who he can trust.
Like family, huh?
So quiet. So cold. She's terrified.
It would only be maybe 6 months, 3 or 4. It would mean so much to him.
To him?
She swallows, straightens up her spine.
And to me.
And you knew about this?
Real quiet against the noise of this place.
I think you ought to listen to her, Michael. This is her life too.
Just the thing to bring that anger near the surface. He turns to Kim.
Well, which is it?
A demand. Sharp. Accusing. She doesn't like that.
You gonna tell me Daddy thought this one up? All of a sudden I'm the only jerk alive who can help him deal with the press?
She's trapped, angry and scared, a deer in headlights.
Why don't you just start being honest for one fucking second?
Michael.
I am honest.
Silence.
All of a sudden, I'm supposed to drop out of school, forget my family, forget my career, forget all the plans I have for my life.
Well, forgive me for screwing up your plans.
He can't even believe he's hearing this.
I'm sure glad I'm hearing all this now before it's too late.
What is that supposed to mean?
And what am I supposed to do with my life, huh? I'm 28 years old. Hey, he's my age. I work in a low-paying, low-status, zero-respect job, which unfortunately I happen to fucking love. How inconvenient.
Shrugs.
No problem. A little bullshit about daddy needs, and presto, I'm a lapdog in high society.
Michael, it sounds like a wonderful opportunity.
Does it
You
really? Does it really? How come you never took some sellout establishment job? You had plenty of chances.
Glares in her
Fine.
eyes.
I'll tell you why. Because that isn't you, and it isn't me either. We're the same person.
Back to Kim.
What a sweet little picture. Mommy and Daddy aren't losing a daughter; they're gaining a eunuch.
Well, if that's the way you feel,
Damn straight, it's how I feel. What's their wedding gift? A little gold collar that says Mickey Boo? Or do I have to change my name to Binky.
She's crying now, real tears on her face.
Great, tears. The big equalizer. You wait till 2 days before the wedding to drop this on me, and I'm just supposed to roll over and drool.
She is sobbing now. She can't help herself, which makes him totally crazy. He jumps up.
Fine, I'm insensitive. Chauvinist.
Chauvinistic.
Chauvinistic. Hey, I'm the one that's angry here. Chauvinistic asshole, and you're well rid of my.
Michael!
A wrenching cry from her heart. It stops him cold, and before Julianne's astonished eyes, Kimmy reaches out a trembling hand,
Michael, you are so
choking back the sobs.
right. And I'm so very wrong.
Michael blinks. Julianne blinks for different reasons.
We can't go down 2 roads and still be together.
Her fingers stretch, beckoning.
Kimmy?
We settled this and I reneged. That wasn't fair.
Please, please take my hand.
You have to forgive me and forget this ever happened.
People are watching, staring. These two only see each other.
Or I'll die.
A frozen forever moment. He steps to her, lifts her up in his arms into the deepest, most heartfelt kiss, and she clings to him. People begin to applaud and whistle and laugh. Julianne, in her pretty dress, closes her eyes. Interior Julianne's hotel room, night. Julianne is in her nightshirt, her back to us, sobbing into her cellular as she paces the room.
See, that's what I never counted. I never heard of a brilliant moron before.
We close as she whips around, startling us with her grotesque day-glow purple face mask. The green was better.
I mean, the little twerp groveled.
Losing it. We know the drill.
She's so wrong for him.
Clutching the phone.
And Michael and I are the same person. Self-absorbed, imperfect, vaguely lovable. We deserve each other.
Tears are flowing, which, over this mask, is not a pretty sight.
I'm out of hope. I'm out of sneaky ideas, and I'm at the end of my rapidly fraying, hysterical little rope. Help me.
She trips over an open suitcase and disappears from frame. The thud is slightly alarming.
God, I hate this hotel.
Hold on nothing in particular.
And I hate talking to your fucking machine.
Interior Julianne's room, early morning. Rear view of Julianne asleep on the floor. Sunlight streaming in. A soft knocking on a door somewhere nearby. She barely stirs. The knock becomes a strong rapping and she fights for consciousness. Her back still to us, she rises. Stumbles to the door, which is now pulsing with an insistent and incessant pounding, and throws it open as we snap to reverse angle close on Julianne's face, still encased in a now decomposing purple mask. Her eyes springing wide, she screams in shock, and we snap back to original angle. Digger, Jesus, Freudian slip, watching impassively at the high-strung shriek. In the silence that follows,
You stole my line.
he touches his face and she realizes.
Oh, shit.
Starts clawing at the overripe mask, but he grabs her wrist.
Jill, we don't want your face coming off with it.
Jill, since when do you say
When I'm talking to children.
She looks in his eyes, realizing at last.
You flew all the way here?
I noticed. I'm on the noon back. We have this thing with George's family in the Hamptons.
You're butting in.
He still holds her wrist. She brings one of his hands to her lips, kisses his knuckles.
I really resent this.
All right, I'm sorry. I can't. Interior bathroom morning. Julianne seated at the sink, staring into the mirror as Digger gently applies soap, cloth, and water to ease away the mask. A paleontologist restoring a Bronze Age artifact. By the side of the half-filled sink rests her plugged-in curling iron.
I mean, what I mean when I say annoyingly perfect is that there is nothing annoying about her perfection. Like, it is vulnerable and, like, endearing. And it's as annoying as shit.
You like her.
I didn't have to hate her. I'd adore her.
She looks up at him and winces, just as the movement makes him scrape her face. He's sorry.
last night she was crying these big, real tears. And when she thought she lost him, it was like there was like a knife in her heart. And I put it there. I hated myself. I grieved for her and I couldn't enjoy 1 second of it. And then when it didn't work, I was devastated.
Go figure, you.
Because I realized when I see him say, I do, that knife will be in my heart and it will be there every time I think of him forever, which could be a lot. Anyway, you watch a guy caress his girlfriend's butt and you see an Old Spice commercial. Sentimental moments are everywhere when you're in the right frame of mind. You can read these parts.
Okay, I was just checking. I was like, she's follows hard. I was like, girl, all of this shit seems like I'm just telling you what you're acting. She's follows hard, fights for a grip on her determination.
There are 18,250 nights in
You've
the
been
next
working on
50
this, huh?
years. Yeah, and having done the right thing will only really be comforting, maybe 5, 6 times. This is my whole life's happiness. I have to be ruthless.
And you believe that?
Sure.
His eyes are gentle and merciless at once, though no way she gets off this hook.
I mean, he was in love with me every day for 9 years. I can make him happier than she can.
It's not his happiness you're feeling guilty about.
I don't know the meaning of the word guilt.
Impressive.
I'm breaking her heart in the short run, but doing her a gigantic favor. She would be miserable tagging along after this insensitive doofus.
The man you love.
Beyond all reason. And the feminist warrior will rise up in this kid and she'll be like standing over his sleeping form with a butcher knife, selecting from a short list of body parts.
Someday she'll end here.
Let's not get carried away.
And the defenses drain from her clay-ravished features. The real Julianne is glimpsed.
I'd settle for, I don't know, someday I'll forgive myself for doing this terrible thing. Which, by the way, I can't figure out how to do.
As the tears fall, he wipes at them, discovering...
Jesus, you're supposed to take your makeup off before you apply the makeup.
I know that I was distracted by the green. Guess what I was brushed my teeth with last night.
He thinks about this. Following her eyes to the toiletries kit, he browses for a moment.
Sit cream?
I wish.
Neosporin?
Try less appropriate.
Bengay.
That was Thursday.
Elmer's glue?
God, don't be ridiculous. We're having a serious conversation here.
I give.
I can't even say it. And the first word is preparation, and then comes a letter of the alphabet, perilously close to the letter G.
She reaches to test her curling iron, burns her finger, knocking the appliance into the half-filled sink. She lunges for it, and a terrified Digger grasps her arm.
Considering the circumstances, I'm not wholly against suicide. Just not by electrocution in front of me. Got this.
He reaches to pull the plug from the wall, and now she lunges to grab his arm, slipping, her face falling forward, stopping an inch above the sink.
How do you know you can touch that plug? Are you a licensed contractor?
What do you suggest?
She looks from the plug down the cord to the submerged curling iron and back.
Maybe they just seal off this whole room. They have others.
I didn't mean about that.
If I hear the words "tell the truth" on or any paraphrase thereof, I dive into the sink and pull you with me.
Let's go meet Michael. I'll wait downstairs.
Interior Armani, morning. Julianne is cleaned up pretty good. She sits with Digger on a fashion fabric sofa. They are side by side, studying something with equal concentration and slight concern.
I suppose it's too late to start over.
It's too late to start over.
Full back to reveal Michael in his wedding tux, submitting to a final fitting from a stylish fitter.
You guys are heartless. Oh, no, sorry. That's Travis's line.
God damn it,
Damn it,
Travis!
Travis.
Yes,
turn
no,
off
I was waiting. You
ESPN.
said my line. I was just waiting.
Well, then you were muted.
Yes,
Dum-dum.
you guys are heartless. My bride picked this out.
Like I said, dazzling.
Is she going to dress you every day?
Michael smiles over, Digger smiles back. They love each other.
Yeah, it's in the contract.
Well then, I'll take it up with her.
Michael motions, okay, come on over. Digger rises, goes to Michael. The fitter steps back as Digger shows him.
The cut here, this line.
Fingers lightly traveling over the lapel, the side stitching, the cloth straight down the spine.
Trouser width. This is all classic, which means safe, something I'd wear.
I should look different.
You should look like you dressed yourself.
Yes, Michael's grin is back, playful and friendly.
And I'm supposed to respect your fashion tips because you're what, a New Yorker?
Something like that.
Julianne loves that the boys are getting on.
Long trip, pretty nice of you to come.
Well, I'm close to her. I wanted to meet the one that got away.
Said so naturally that embarrasses Michael, who looks down, his smile suddenly awkward.
What?
I'm just glad someone finally put this thing in its proper perspective.
Steals a glance at Julianne, she rolls her eyes. What a goofball, my outrageous friend.
Stay, huh?
Yeah, I honestly wish I could.
I'll call George's parents, tell them I need a best man who can actually looks after me.
Julianne comes over.
They'd say that's my job.
Runs her hand over his jacket, smoothing it everywhere with tenderness that approaches transparency. Glances back at Digger.
I'll take it home from here.
2 words.
Major dish.
Manicure.
She looks down. Michael's nails are unclipped with layers of impacted dirt. She touches his fingertips a little more softly than she may have intended.
Fly.
Everyone looks down. She zips Michael up.
You don't miss much.
Part of being a New Yorker.
Yes. Interior hair salon morning. Cutting edge salon. Loud pulsing music. Digger and Michael in adjacent chairs, heads back, each smoking impressive cigars as their hair is styled. Digger's stylist is a hot, trashy female. Michael's is a tall, flamboyant male in a day-glow vest. Jesus. Each man has one hand soaking, the other being worked on by a manicurist, so Julianne goes from one to the other, removing their cigars so they can exhale. A Seraglio feel to the way she does this? Seraglio? Anyway, now she's arguing with Michael's stork-like stylist. We can't hear over the music, but she keeps tugging on Michael's hair, pretty passionate about her point of view. Suddenly, she grabs the scissors to do it herself, and Michael bolts out of the chair. Whoa! Exterior O'Hara Airport day. Skycaps, guests of impatient travelers, a bus offloading 40 Japanese tourists. A taxi cuts off a van to reach the curb. Out jumps Michael, opening the door for Digger and Julianne. Digger says something. Michael gives him a strong hug. Julianne raises one finger to Michael. Back in a second. Leads Digger off by the hand. Close on them now, alone in the throng.
Bye, handsome.
Digger stares at her, those maddening judgmental eyes.
You're gonna say it, aren't you?
Tell him you love him with all your heart.
I'm taking my next book to Viking.
Tell him you've loved him for 9 years, but you were afraid to realize it.
I'm moving this book to Viking.
Tell him you're afraid of love, afraid of needing,
Needing.
belong to someone. Oh, we all do, beautiful. Sorry about that.
Staring in her eyes, even Julianne has run out of words.
Tell him you know this is the worst, dumbest, cruelest moment to do this to him. But there it is. And he has to choose.
What will he do?
Digger isn't smiling, his voice low beneath the crowd.
You'll choose Kim. You'll stand by her at her wedding. You'll kiss him goodbye. And you'll go home. This is what you've come to do. Now do it.
Wow, she looks frightened and moved all at the same time. She kisses him on the lips and walks away. He watches her go through the crowd, take Michael's hand, lead him back towards the taxi. Exterior Skyline cruise boat. Day. The skyline of Chicago moves past us slowly. The NBC Tower, City Front Center.
Big weddings are so strange.
You keep saying that.
Up ahead, the Wrigley building draws closer.
Kim has all this stuff to do. I hardly see her.
Well, you've got the rest of your lives.
Reverse angle. They lean on the rail of a cruise boat, easing down the Chicago River, wind blown, close together.
Getting your bed made every day.
They smile at each other and seem so comfortable together.
You missed her, huh?
No, I've got you.
I almost choked on my wine, staring in her eyes.
Don't you throw up on boat?
If you like.
And she lurches over the railing, emitting a barrage of incredibly disgusting sounds, her feet flailing in midair. He laughs as he pulls her back. Oh, Jesus. Come on,
Oh my God.
commitment. He laughs as she pulls her back down to the deck. Of course, it was all a joke. He brushes back her hair, sighs, stares.
I've been thinking a lot the last couple of days about us, actually.
Have you? Well, there's a lot of memories to choose from.
It's more than that.
That tightens her throat pretty good. When she tries to speak, out comes a dry croak that makes him laugh again. Softer this
Croak.
time.
I mean, it's embarrassing to say it this way, but
He stops. Her eyes widen in a burlesque of anticipation. So he smiles. She knows how to put him at ease.
you sort of been, the woman in my life.
You've been the man of mine.
Passing under the Michigan Avenue Bridge, no one quite knows what to say.
And I was thinking this could be our last time. Alone. Together,
Except for the hot affairs we'll have twice a year.
Except for that.
She's smiling so easily, who would guess her stomach is double knotted?
I can hardly wait for your wedding.
Me either.
Boy, I never thought I'd hear you say that. Can I come?
You want me to say
Couldn't
that
have
one
it
too?
without you.
There you go.
It's normal to have second thoughts, huh? To be scared.
Is this a change of direction, or is this the direction she's been praying for?
Say a little prayer for myself. I wouldn't know. Never had many first thoughts.
I mean, you commit to a wedding, and then it seems like this momentum, You forgot you. Choose it. You and I mean, in all our relationships with other people, we didn't use the word love a lot, did we? Kimmy says, well, when you love someone, you say it out loud, right now, or the moment. Passes you by, yeah? She's a smart girl.
Off in the distance, the Centennial Fountain shoots an 8-foot jet of water across the river. For Michael and Julianne, it goes unnoticed.
We don't have a song. Kimmy and I, we don't have a song. Is that a bad sign? Someday, when I'm awfully low and the world is cold.
Michael,
She doesn't
have you
wanna
ever
cry.
heard music? Ever?
I hate this. So she puts all the strength she has into fighting it back and wanting to hit Travis in the face.
I will feel a glow just thinking of you, all the way you look tonight.
And the way you look tonight, dumbass. He stops, smiles that sweet boyish smile that I just want to punch in the face.
Dance card filled.
I'll check. I have it on PowerBook these days.
He holds up his arms and she moves into them. He begins to dance with her, turning so slowly, and yes, people are watching.
With each word, your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart.
Jesus.
Like a bad spoken word.
And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. And he stops. He's looking at her. She's still in his arms.
Where did we first hear that?
Night we met.
Wow, I agree though. So we heard it like that first.
The night we met, the night we fell in love. Yes. We danced to it just like this.
Yes.
And he has to say,
I won't lose you, will I?
No, because I won't let you.
Jesus. Someone's going to have to resuscitate me because my favorite Sinatra song just got ruined. Interior Wallace Enterprises Day. Julianne in crisp chalk striped trousers and a buttoned up dress shirt. Yeah, girl. Her coat slung over her shoulder, she wanders through the Saturday deserted office space. Desks, cubicles, monitors, silent. A row of executive offices standing empty, waiting for the custodian. Turning a corner, we hear life at the end of the hallway. A grand conference room with a glass wall. Walter, in shirt sleeves, running a strategy meeting for 5. Deidre, his personal secretary, clicking every word into her laptop at warp speed. Walter sees Julianne through the glass. A comic take of pleased surprise. He comes out to greet her.
Michael was picking me up.
I told him, get the important stuff, Kim's ring. I'll collect the inconsequentials.
Well, Kim said when he turned down the job, there was no friction.
Friction? No.
I haven't caused a problem, have I?
Nobody has so far.
Well, you're a little early.
I need to make some calls. Could I use your office?
Interior Walter's office day. Julianne enters the spacious corner office high above the city, closes the door quietly behind her. So anxious, she is practically hyperventilating. She goes slowly to the vacant cherrywood desk, its computer and monitors standing silent. She is stalking it like a deadly animal, and then she is there, talking to herself, her own desperate support network.
You can do this.
Sacred.
You can do this.
Filled with doubt and conflict. Her hands clutch each other. Then one flicks out, and the computer goes on. The screen glows, waits for her. Her mouth is sand, her stomach water. She pulls the paper from her pocket, looks at it, looks to the monitor, then begins to type.
Email address to Ben Isaacson, Senior Editor, Sports Illustrated, from Walter Wallace. See, you can do it. It's easy. All right, do it fast. It's over. It's like it never happened. Ben, I need a favor. All right, here we go. My daughter's every happiness, and my wife's, and the least of all my own, are in your hands. Knowing your value of our friendship and the cooperative relationship between our companies, I am hopeful of your help. I have offered Mike O'Neill, my new son-in-law, a great opportunity in my company, and this would also enable my daughter to settle in Chicago near us and pursue the dreams and plans. This is his own detriment as well as ours. Michael will not accept our offer while he works for you.
She stands up, stares at the screen, and walks away. Walks back, still standing, types.
My daughter joins me in this plea for your cooperation and discretion.
Is there a sound? Outside the door. She hovers over the escape key. Waits. Waits. Silence. Types.
With gratitude for your understanding, Walter.
She hits a key. The screen goes blank. The computer asks, "Do you wish to send?" She tells the computer,
Are you crazy? Getting fired?
Types no. The computer asks, hold for later? And she types, yes.
Just till tonight when I bring him back to look for.
She glances to her huge bag, rummages through, pulling out a manila folder, lays it by the blank computer, fans out a few pages in a natural, disorderly way, takes a step back and stares, struck to her gut. But when she is done, what she has done, who knows? Someone wrote it wrong. Interior conference room day. Walter alone with Deidre now, signing a stack of documents as she efficiently places one after another before him. When he glances up, he sees Julianne wandering the halls, stands, tells his secretary,
Off to rehearsal. Send out this and this, not this, this, and that's it.
slips on his coat. Oh, and by the way,
I'm holding 4 or 5 emails I wrote over lunch.
on his way through the door,
Send them out.
oh shit! I see what's gonna happen. Interior Chapel, University of Chicago day. Am I about to sneeze? Maybe. Yup. Nope. Yup. Excuse me. Ugh. Julianne and Walter enter the rear of a striking Gothic chapel, pastel light slanting in through stained glass windows. We now see the full effect of her outfit. A man's style chalk striped suit, tailored to fit her body, set off by a bold silk tie. Yes. Solid dynamite she hangs back while Walter proceeds down the vaulted nave toward Michael, Kimmy, Isabel, and Joe, who stand casually joking by the altar. Scattered around are the assorted groomsmen, ushers, and an obvious flower girl. Coming towards us up the aisle, the minister, early 40s, lean and quite attractive. Mandy is hanging on his arm, pressing her body against him as they walk, murmuring urgent murmurs close to his ear. He's a really good sport and really uncomfortable. Sammy is walking backwards right in front of them, drops her bag and bends to retrieve it, as if oblivious to major cleavage on immediate display. Julianne is so lost in her own anxiety she doesn't even notice until...
Reverend Dyer, this is Kimberly's somewhat butch maid of honor.
Mr. Julianne Potter, prominent New York drag queen.
Today the girls' voices are charmingly, musically southern, with none of the extreme accents we heard at the shower. The minister extends his hand.
Billy Dyer, Julianne. And I love the suit.
She shakes his hand, smiles graciously, but her eyes flick to Michael, now approaching up the aisle. The girls lead the minister away. Michael arrives, looks her up and down.
Takes me back.
Well.
Glowing smile
You
time.
sang the song. Least I could do was wear the outfit.
Except now you're better looking. I got the ring.
Pulls the box from his pocket. Somewhere an organ sounds, and as he is about to hand her the box,
Swing low, sweet chariot.
how they did that, Travis, where they like sung it in the right beat and everything?
Yes, because they're real singers.
Doesn't matter. Exquisite two-part harmony, y'all. Michael stops to watch.
Coming to carry me home.
It's amazing. Soulful, vengeful sluts. He is enthralled. Julianne's simply impatient. She wants his attention.
No accents today.
Yeah, Kim told me they were giving you their Dueling Scarlet act. Actually, they're sophomores at Juilliard.
She takes the box from his hand, opens it as the singing continues throughout. The ring is delicate, hammered gold, one of a kind.
Will she like it?
Yes.
My groom person, your family needs you.
Master's voice. He gives Julianne a smile and goes. She's left with the box, gazes at the ring, lifts it out.
Well, I look over yonder, what did I see?
She slips that ring on her left hand, on the ring finger.
Coming to carry me home.
She touches it, turns it on her finger. So many emotions.
It was a hand of angels coming for me.
She tries to pull it off.
Coming for to carry me home.
It won't come, not even close. Interior Crab House night, close on a bowl filled with squares of butter. Hear the butt of conversation from a rowdy, friendly joint. Julianne's right hand reaches to the bowl, fingers trace the rim innocently, then slide the bowl into Julianne's lap beneath the table. Her right hand massages all the butter into a gooey, revolting mess. We can pick out familiar voices now. Family in distance, the twins closer, as hidden from view, Julianne brings her left hand from her pocket. Yup, the ring is still there. The finger already red and swollen from panicky efforts to pull it off. And as applause surrounds us, Julianne plunges her ring finger into the morass of grease, frantically tearing back at the ring, and butter splurging on her pants everywhere as we pull back to see the long table covered with butcher paper. The family at the far end, the twins down here with us, a mug of beer for each place as a team of waiters with heaping platters of crabs, which they fling across the butcher paper, as applause continues from everyone but Julianne, who still struggles secretly. As the waiters set huge wooden mallets in front of each guest, Joe O'Neill rises, pounds the table with his mallet for attention.
I'd like to thank everybody for our little rehearsal supper.
Yup, unaccustomed to public speaking. Walter and Isabel clap and call out support, so Joe lifts his mallet.
Everybody stand up.
And everyone does, with one exception. Trapped. She jams her left hand in her coat pocket, smears her right palm sort of clean on the underside of the table, grabs her mallet, and jumps up.
To the bride goes the honor of cracking the first crab.
Everybody applauds by banging their mallets. Joe's raises his high. Everybody imitates.
But first, a toast.
And everyone snatches up their beers with their left hands as Julianne drops her mallet with a horrific crash, grabbing her beer, looking up to...
I'm right-handed.
A hugely embarrassing half second. Bailed out by...
To our host, my cuddly Papa Joe, who taught me to play Blue Hawaii on my nose.
With a look at Julianne, Kim sets down her mallet gently and performs a nasal hum of the tropical standard, strikingly her nostril repeatedly for vibrato. It is charming and everybody watches. Really? Get it, girl. Interior hotel ballroom later. Close on an actual living, if geriatric, lion. He blinks from his cage, bored as hell. Hear the surrounding noise, chatter, loud Sinatra music of a very large party. Pull back to see an over-decorated ballroom in dim and dramatic lighting, dripping with the trappings of ancient Rome. The mingling guests are the neatly 100 females of the wedding party, most of them older women. They are served by wandering, well-built athletes in Roman togas or gladiator costumes. Pan to Julianne, still in her suit, hiding by a table piled with the carload of grapes. Her left hand still buried in her pocket, the eyes of a hunted animal. From nowhere...
Boo!
She jumps a foot, both hands flying up, left one awkwardly slamming back into its pocket. The girls have snuck up behind her. They have changed into hot gowns that are really only wide ribbons wrapped around their bodies.
I know why you're scared of our party. It's too hip.
Sinatra singing Stranger in the Night. Hugely muscled, half-naked black and white studs, serving enchanted blue-haired ladies.
Kimberly wanted to tickle the grandmas, so we figured we'd give them a cheap thrill. Walter supplied the decorated touches. Nose tackle from the Bears, power forward from the Bulls, defenseman from the Blackhawks. My personal favorite, the designated hitter.
I'm partial to the tight end.
This is USDA prime, largely available beef, with no noticeable competition, present company accepted.
Now they stare at her with identical, really odd smiles.
And yet here you are, all celibate and reclusive.
With those big, dark, haunted eyes, as if you were harboring some unspeakably guilty secret.
Well, I'm worried about something. Oh, well, I left this really important file in Walter's office. I have to send my editor some figures on territorial sales to close my book deal. So Kim gave me the key, and Michael's on his way to drive me down to Walt.
Oh, we thought it was the ring.
Yeah, the one you better get the fuck off the third finger of your left hand.
Well, see, that was a reflex to see if it would
Look good on Kimberly.
right, and then it didn't want to come off exactly.
Maybe it's happy there.
Oh, the way out of the crab house. You asked Michael if we could see the ring.
He said you told him it'd be safer with you.
And so it is.
And for once is speechless. To our amazement, the girls wear identical smiles of kindness and support.
Oh, shut up, Sugar. He's on the way. Let's get to work.
Sorry, I'm like dying of heating things. Shut up, little space heater. Get out of here. I'm busy. Interior, hotel kitchen night. Huge, gleaming, chaotic kitchen. Cooks, waiters working at top speed. No way would a waiter be back on the line right now. The chef would kill them. The three women race in, look around frantically. Half the guys stop to ogle the twins. Cut to angles. An industrial-sized jar of peanut butter. Julianne's hand plunges in, halfway to the rolled-up sleeve at her elbow, smooches it around real good. Pull back to reveal she is surrounded by the twins and 6 guys, all shouting conflicting instructions. Julianne flings off the excess slop. Tugs for all she's worth.
Twist it.
Twist it.
Twist it.
Twist
Yep,
it.
twist it.
Bop it.
Shut up, Travis. Nada, it won't budge. A sous chef wipes her hand with a towel. A janitor crashes a toolkit onto the counter, throws it open, pulls out a spray can of WD-40. Instantly, her hand is black. The guy tugs. No movement. He can't believe it.
It's mental, lady. You ain't trying.
Sammy's rubbing shaking through her handbag, pulling out.
There is nothing so tight this KY jelly can't help it.
Julianne just gives her a look, and Mandy pushes through with a butcher's cleaver.
Look, I saw this on Hard Copy. People cut off body parts, and the hospital can just sew them right back on.
Julianne.
What was that, Sugar?
I saw the show.
Well, maybe it works on fingers too.
Aunt Mandy?
Everybody turns. The little girl in the doorway. Southern accent.
Mr. Michael's here?
Everything gets real quiet. Mandy takes charge. She rolls down Julianne's left sleeve, rips the hem out of the cuff so that it's flapped down over her hand, covering the ring. Sammy wipes the black stuff from Julianne's fingers.
Don't worry, baby. You can pick your nose with that finger, and Michael would never notice. He's a man.
The twins lead her off. We're on their backs for...
Personally, I think Mr. Michael's marrying the wrong girl.
You're much more his type.
Exterior downtown street night. View through a heavy glass door of the empty, dimly lit lobby. Full back to see Julianne just as she kicks the shit out of the glass. Almost breaks her foot.
I can't believe this.
Pull back farther to see Michael still trying keys from a large key ring in the heavy lock. Sign over the door says Wallace Enterprises. Traffic hustles by, oblivious to her suffering.
No big deal. She just gave you the wrong keys. That's...
Is there a fucking guard, a janitor, a fucking cleaning woman? I'll take a burglar. Somebody's got to be in there.
And she slams her whole body against the glass, making it rattle ominously.
It's a brick. Find me a goddamn brick.
What's the big deal about getting this file tonight?
I promised Digger I'd email him those figures. They are very important figures. I'm up against a deadline.
Me too. I'm getting married tomorrow.
That's my point. Like, I mean, tomorrow we'll be busy with more important things. So tonight's my last chance.
I forgot how cute you look when you get impossible.
Come on, up there, right in front of Walter's, computer, if memory serves. We could use his computer too. Just email those
tomorrow-
suckers right out.
Tomorrow is Sunday. Nobody is doing business. Crack of dawn Monday. Walter will take you up there. Oh my God! Give it up, kid. You can't win them all.
And slowly he takes her hand, leads her away. She takes one backward glance at the locked door. Her last dream dies. Interior lobby, Ritz-Carlton night. Michael and a disconsolate Julianne board the elevator. He presses 15 and she pushes 11. Michael carries a handful of message slips and an envelope. As the car starts up, she folds her arms across her chest at the edge of tears. He doesn't know what to do.
Listen, even if you blow this deal, how big could it be?
You're right. Easy coming. Easy go.
Jules.
She won't look at him. She wants to die. The bell rings. The doors open to her floor, and she just walks out. And he follows. They stand now. She with her arms crossed, lip trembling. She can't believe how close she is to losing it.
This thing means that much to you?
It means a lot.
I'll call the house. Walter's probably not even asleep. I'll drive you out there. We'll get the key. We'll go back to the office.
She throws her arms around his, hugging him so hard, so close, he laughs, and she is so weird. She pulls back, beaming and glowing.
Come on, we'll call you from your room. If I fall asleep on the altar tomorrow...
He's trying to flip through the message slips in his free hand.
You better be there Funny. You better be there to Funny. These are all from Ben.
She's at her door, turning the key. He looks at the envelope.
The fax is from Ben, too. Man, it's my wedding. My boss can't leave me alone?
Maybe it's congratulations.
He follows her in, opening the envelope, stops, reads, and his face suddenly freezes to stone.
Michael, what
Mike,
happened?
Mike, I can't believe I'm doing this to you on the night before your wedding, but I think you need and deserve to know what you're marrying into.
He hands it toward her. She takes it hesitantly, and he walks past toward the phone.
I received the following email this afternoon. Ben, I need a favor. My daughter's every happiness.
Her eyes bug out of her head. Holy shit, we can hear him dialing the phone. She keeps reading. It's all there. How did this happen?
Isabel, I need to talk to Kim.
Like, the funny thing is, he's offering you a gig you'd be stupid to turn down.
I'm just tired. Please put her on. Thanks.
Maybe you should take the job and dump the girl.
Jules, could you give me a minute?
He looks more sick than angry, as if the heart has just been cut out of him. She doesn't know what to say or do, so she just stands, staring dumbly.
Please?
She nods, stumbles out of her room, closing the door behind her. Now she's in the empty corridor, clutching her big jumbled bag, sinking down to sit on the carpet, her back against the door. She doesn't look elated. She seems frightened, distraught, and most of all, confused. Because she can't understand why. She digs absently through her bag. Cigarettes, box of matches she lights up, draws deeply. Somehow, she seems near tears and laughs bitterly at that. Shakes her head at how fucked up she finds herself. Squeaking wheels approach, but she is too lost to hear them.
Miss,
Goodness.
are you locked out or something?
She looks up. A small, wiry man of nearly 60 in a slightly faded but neatly kept uniform. On his cart, a ton of bags.
No, I just stepped out because it's a non-smoking room.
And inhales deeply, leans back against the door to look up at him more comfortably.
Well, it's a non-smoking floor, too. Maybe you could go to the...
Why don't you just have me arrested? I mean that. Or arrested, convict me. Put me in solitary. Yeah. See, I'm a dangerous criminal person. I do bad things to honest people. And this, see the smoking, it's the tip of the iceberg. make a citizen's arrest. I won't struggle, I promise. It'll be like getting Al Capone on tax evasion.
Can I help you, miss?
Do you smoke, Richard?
Yes, ma'am, I do. But it's
Non-smoking floor, yeah. Well, you know what?
And she takes a cigarette from her lips, turns it around, holds it out to him. Go ahead. He doesn't move. Please! And so he reaches down, takes the cigarette from her hand. Staring in her eyes, he takes a deep drag, savors an expert nostril inhale of his exhaled smoke. Hands the cigarette back to her.
My grandmother always said, this too shall pass.
Thanks, Richard. You were on duty, I'd buy you a drink.
He just nods. She waves. He waves back, pushes his cart down the hall. As she watches him go, the door behind her suddenly opens, and she falls through it, flat on her back at Michael's feet. Staring up at him, seeing that he looks as bad as she feels, she takes a raw, deep drag.
What happened? What happened, Michael?
I just said it's over.
I didn't hear you.
It's
Well,
true, I didn't
Now
either.
it's really over.
Great. Well, and it's my line, so shut up. It crouches down close beside her. The cigarette drops from her hand unnoticed on the carpet, so he lifts it, crushes it on the heel of his shoe.
I want to quit this shit. It'll kill you. She denied it, said I was crazy and paranoid.
Bad combination.
There's this big brunch tomorrow morning at her place. She said, how can I call everything off? What do I tell everybody?
Michael,
No, it's for the best. It really is. We were so wrong for each other.
maybe tomorrow you'll feel different.
The job thing would have broken us up eventually anyway. She couldn't have lived with it. I know that now.
Maybe she can pretend she's not a monster.
Well, and she's right. I'm crazy to fall for someone I hardly knew. Hey, you still got that ring?
She holds up her left hand. The flapping sleeve falls away. The ring is on a finger that is swollen and raw.
I tried it on, but it won't come off.
He smiles at that, a sad smile of friendship, then takes her finger gently into his mouth. It is something like a kiss, and when he removes her moistened finger, he pulls the ring off. Nothing to it. She blinks.
It's mental, you know. Should we take a walk or maybe some food set up or something?
I just want to be alone. Is that okay? Maybe I'll go back to New York, hang with you for a while. Ben will understand. Or we'll go somewhere if you have the time.
San Antonio, sweet Sacramento. I've never been to Texas.
So thanks for coming to my wedding.
And then he's gone. Interior Julianne's bathroom, late night. Julianne brushing out her hair in the bathroom mirror, eyeing her image with evident dissatisfaction as she listens to the receiver ring.
Digger and George are with family in the Hamptons until Monday morning. Brevity is even more in order than usual.
Meep.
Hey, handsome, brevity this.
Her eyes find the pack of cigarettes and next to her toiletries kit.
I won. Okay. And 40 years. I'm sorry, amazing, huh? I didn't do things quite your way, but I got it done. Or I got it down? Anyway, and 40 years and 9 grandchildren later, when I sit with Michael on some rustic porch slogging through our sweet swamp of nostalgic memories, no one is going to sweep on the details of one or sweat. It says sweet, but it's supposed to be sweat there.
Yes.
And then of one weekend in Chicago. Talk about celebration.
She lifts
And
a
I'm
tooth-
gonna brush my teeth with actual toothpaste.
Get it,
I
girl.
guess I'm too exhausted to feel the elation I so richly underserve. I mean, so I'm gonna hold calls at the desk while I get my God, it is toothpaste. Oh, they should sell this stuff commercially. Wow. Wow. Anyway, a girl does need her. Well, we're a bit past worrying about beauty sleep, huh? Let's just settle for not frightening small animals. Anyway, couldn't have done it without you, even though I did, if you follow that. 3 words. Happily ever, well, you know.
Smash cut to interior bedroom morning. Julianne sprawled all over the bed, mouth open like a carp, sleeping mask against the daylight. A sudden rapping at the door, and she sits bolt upright, utterly disoriented until she pulls off the mask, stumbles out of bed, walking toward the firm knocking when it stops. A message slides underneath her door. She lifts it, barely conscious. This wakes her up in 1.
I'm sorry, you're going where?
Exterior Wallace Estate Day. Julianne climbs from her taxi. Only slightly in awe, she sets off past the reflecting pool, which fronts a mansion of graceful stone and timber. It's a hike today because the circular drives is clogged deep with Bentleys, Mercedes, and waiting limos vying for space with a score of delivery vehicles of all kinds, maintenance trucks, catering, and florists, and food vans. Interior Great Room Day. Julianne escorted into an enormous room, where brunch is in progress for more than 100. She looks from the vaulted ceilings to the frescoed walls, the inlaid floors, the massive pipe organ above the stone staircase, the oil portraits of Scottish ancestors and their favorite dogs. Isabel has risen from the main table and comes to her. All smiles. Julianne is in the twilight zone. What are these people laughing about? Do they still think there's a wedding?
Jules, we're so glad you slept in.
Takes her arm graciously. This woman would make Anne Bancroft look coarse. As they walk,
Now you have a choice. The idea is bride and groom shouldn't see each other on the magic day.
Julianne looking all around. Magic day it seems to be. Where the hell is the bride or a groom?
So Michael stays put in the garden. Kimmy stays in here.
Pointing. There she is, obscured by a cluster of the appropriate fawning. She has the same hunted eyes and false, slightly manic smile Julianne wore yesterday. This, at least, makes sense.
And the guests go back and forth. Where will you start?
Close on Julianne, watching the brave, frightened bride.
She looks tense.
Nerves. I never would have guessed.
Exterior rose garden day. A steward leads Julianne to the edge of an expansive rose garden, altogether elegant and comfortable, with its long white picnic tables where nearly 100 guests casually dine, served by rolling carts. There at the head table, Michael's staring at us. He looks like a poor attempt to cover a hard night. She locks onto his eyes. What the hell is going on? He looks helpless, miserable. She gestures with her head. Follow me. Stalks off. Exterior sculpture garden day. Bronze abstract pieces, some quite large, face a huge set of children's swings, regulation playground size. Julianne sits in one, moving slightly back and forth, trying to hold on to her temper and her sanity. In the distance, trucks are winding their way to and from the pond, where crews are setting up tents, lights, heaters for tonight. The circus has come to town. When she looks back, Michael approaches. Before he can draw a breath,
I had the craziest dream last night. Like, Walter and Kimmy had asked your boss to...
Look, I came down here to face everybody. I didn't want to slink away like some coward.
But the Scotch salmon was so fucking good, you decided to stay for brunch?
She hasn't told anybody. What am I supposed to do?
Get married, apparently. What the hell are you thinking of? The goddamn wedding is in 6 o'clock.
This is her family and her fault.
And your point?
Well, how come she didn't?
Because she's a chicken shit as you are. You morons are made for each other.
Hey, this is a serious matter.
I'll be right back.
Interior kitchen day, a modern take on the medieval castle kitchen. Towering ceilings, dark wood, copper pots hanging, a series of walk-in coolers and freezers. The place is a madhouse of activity as prep cooks slice, chop, sort every kind of food imaginable. Come on, mise en place. And delivery teams bring more. The girls walk through, alone together in the eye of the hurricane. Kim choked? Sorry, girl. With excess sentiment.
Look at all this beautiful food, so lovingly prepared.
They'll eat it anyway. You ever been to a walk?
Kimmy's lip
Awake?
trembles. Oh, Jesus. This is not how she thought of her wedding. The din is so horrific. Kimmy leads them into a walk-in meat locker. Girl, even I miss crying in a meat locker. Even here, 2 butchers are dressing Eastern fresh corn-fed carcasses.
You want to give us a minute? We like to be alone with our pork.
On
False.
that basis, they leave. Kimmy sits on a stack of packaged frozen fowl parts, stares up with big, sweet, wet eyes.
How's he doing?
Who, the jerk who's ruining your life?
This must be very, very hard on him.
With what psychosis and all? Yeah. Listen, when you're going to come clean, when are you going to come clean with your folks?
Don't you see?
If you're waiting for, do you take this man? That's considered poor form.
That this is all my fault. Whatever delusions I drove him to, there's truth at the heart of it. I want him to work for my father. I want to stay in school. I want a life of my own.
Well, yeah, well, lots of couples are incompatible.
I love
Right.
him. Tell him it's my fault and that I love him.
I'll be right back.
Exterior tennis court day. The court has become a giant holding pen for tonight's balloons. There are maybe 1 billion in assorted colors already blowing in all directions under clear plastic sheeting which has been spread across the top of the court's chain link fence. Michael stands outside the court clutching the chain link like a prisoner as Julianne comes through the gate. From somewhere we hear high, squeaky, alien voice-like sounds. Incongruous against...
How is she?
Julianne absorbs this. As the bizarre sounds continue, she whirls around.
Yes, Drew.
Knock it off.
We now see 3 stoner college guys who have been filling the endless array of balloons from helium tanks at center court. Clearly, they've been inhaling their working materials.
Yes, sir.
A Nazi salute when she turns back.
I asked you.
She admits it's her fault.
Do you think she still loves me?
God, sure she does. She's crazy about you.
Now tears stand in both their eyes. The stoners are doing their Alvin and the Chipmunks impersonation festival in the background, singing in castrato harmony. But our 2 don't notice.
I keep asking, how can I explain what happened? And I keep getting that same answer all night long. I can't, and it doesn't matter. I drove her to it because I want things my way, and even if she did something tricky and unfair, she was blinded by love, okay?
Does that make it right?
Love doesn't have to be right. It just has to be love.
The stoners are now helium crooning Bridge Over Troubled Waters. Actually, they're getting better. Way better than Travis, at least.
That's a good song. She's giving up half her life for me, and I'm bitching because it hurts her. Still better than that other guy. She's a saint, and I'm a worthless ingrate. And still better than that other guy on a second verse. Tell her I'll marry her at 6 o'clock if she still have me, but not that other guy who sang.
I'll be right back. Bye.
I'm dead. Interior Organ Loft Day. Pan along a gigantic serpentine stack of wedding presents, nearly 12 feet high. The pile curves along the balcony, high above the diners in the great room, extending all the way to an organ loft. Alone above the noise of the party, Julianne and Kimmy have just reached the top of the staircase, trapped between 10 tons of lavish gifts and the keyboard of the mammoth organ. Dwarfed by their surroundings, Kimmy draws the hardest breath of her life.
So, what did he say?
Who gives a Yoda as a wedding gift? Anyway, he said, marry me.
Kimmy yelps in her ecstasy, flinging herself against Julianne, and they go down full length across the organ's pedals, blasting the room with a monster chord of china-rattling volume and horrifying disharmony. As grown men and women scream in spontaneous terror below, Kimmy begins to laugh and kiss and hug her new sister and holds her tight. Exterior Willow Pond Day. Damn it. Julian and Michael walk the gravel path beside a breathtaking pond ringed with willows that dig heavy branches to the water's surface. He is relieved, reflective. Head down, he never notices that she is dangerously freaked, too petrified even to hyperventilate. We're lucky she's breathing at all. We watch her life unraveling before her glassy eyes.
Thank God you were here.
Oh, yeah.
I was so confused.
See, that's what you sound like.
Yeah, well, I want to make sure you can hear my... I was so confused.
Shut up and say your line!
Well, it happens.
Oh my God, can I say it now? I was so confused. So confused.
Well, it happens.
So unstick.
They pass an expansive lawn which has become the event parking area. Family vehicles, delivery trucks, service vans, everything that couldn't fit on the circular front driveway.
I might have thrown away.
Your one chance for true happiness?
Yeah, that. Sure.
Yeah, you never want to do that. See, that's always a costly turnover, as they say in the sport biz.
There's a vague Stepford wife quality to her voice. He hears that now and looks at her. Maybe he can't tell she's frightened, but he can tell she's something.
Are you okay?
Nope. She stops walking. She can't look at him, so she looks around. Across the lawns crews are moving. Oh my God, they're moving equipment into the brightly colored tents, unfolding and setting up stacks of tables and chairs, raising the poles between which all those balloons will be strung. At the center of it all, a huge topiary White Sox batter, just completing a murderous swing. He's maybe 15 feet tall. She points to it.
The big hurt, huh?
Neely Fox Walter likes the past, and he likes the little guys.
So Julianne nods because she does too, squints up at Michael.
Yeah, I thought his name was Nellie, but anyway, got a minute?
He nods. You bet. And also, yeah, he fucked up, dude. Worried for her. What is this? She looks in another direction, and now we see that we have nearly reached a stage that has been set up for the band. Chairs, music stands, sound equipment, a gleaming dance floor already in place over the lawn. Next to it, a shimmering white gazebo, like the centerpiece of a wedding cake.
Why is the dance floor by the gazebo?
Because Kimmy's idea. She thought it. She thought it would be such a romantic place for a wedding dance. What's up?
Up the white steps now. Together, the gazebo floor has been covered with hardwood, the perfect place for a wedding dance. And Julianne turns suddenly. He almost runs into her. She is staring up at him so strangely, their bodies only inches apart. He is caught, transfixed by the intensity in her eyes.
Okay, I have to say this quick, okay, or I'll have this massive coronary and you'll never have to hear it, which you need to. Doesn't make any sense at all.
The coronary part does.
Jules, what's wrong?
This is the dumbest thing I will ever do. So dumb, in fact, that I can't. Like, I don't think. Michael, I love you. I've loved you for 9 years, but I was too arrogant and scared to realize it. No, I'm just scared. I know this that comes at like an inopportune time, but I have to ask this one really gigantic favor, okay? Choose me, marry me, let me make you happy. I know it sounds like 3 favors. But when you think about it,
Slides her arm around his neck and raises her mouth to his, the most beautiful kiss she will ever offer. All of her heart is in this, and as his hands touch her body, a scream rips the world to pieces. They whirl to see Kimmy halfway up the path, her hands across her mouth as if to stem the horror that pours forth as she
Damn it,
shrieks
Kimmy.
from her soul. And runs back down the path, Michael bolting after her, shouting her name, a frozen moment, and Julianne takes off after him, all three running, screaming their various emotions at the top of their lungs as workmen stop to watch from neighboring countries. Sorry. Anyway, Kimmy, staring from halfway there, has an insurmountable lead, leaps into her convertible and peels out, just tearing up the gravel as she rockets out of sight. No way to catch her. Still, Michael is racing for the cars. Julianne sprinting her guts out, losing ground with every stride. Michael jumps into a Cherokee.
it's a karaoke, Michael, and don't you you'll never catch her. She is too big of a lead, and she drives like a rabid animal.
He blasts off. She keeps going. Karaoke. Gasping for air, clutching her side. She's dying here. Stop smoking then. Slams into a florist truck, looks inside. Shit. Next, a butcher's van. Looks inside. Jesus.
Doesn't anybody leave the keys anymore? Whatever happened to trust?
Never. Up ahead,
Yes.
Michael has stalled. The Cherokee. She still has a chance. Dashes to the next van. Bornstein extermination, a handsome rendering of a rat above the toxic materials warning, flings the door open, stumbles in. Keys!
Thank you. A good Samaritan. Ha!
She kicks the Ratmobile in gear. Lurches off. Interior Ratmobile, that's awesome. Downtown Chicago day. Julianne tearing through the traffic, desperately struggling to keep Michael's Cherokee in view while she shrieks into her cellular.
It is not going well.
Down the block, Michael whips around a corner. We follow suit to see his destination dead ahead, Union Station. The dispatcher radio intrudes.
Unit 4 Baker, Charlie. How are we looking on that Skokie infestation?
Now she's steering the car, tearing at the radio controls and screaming into the phone cradle on her shoulder.
This is what comes of telling the truth.
Copy, dispatcher.
Even part of it.
What happens if you get that methyl ethyl shit on your hands?
Michael rips into the train station's parking lot. We swerve around a taxi, cut off Harley, careen into the lot.
Getting what you deserve is not fair.
You got maybe 30 seconds before you're sterile. For God's sake, don't touch yourself or anything.
Up ahead, Michael is out of his Jeep and running. Good.
And I hate talking to your machine.
She slams on the brakes, throwing herself against the wheel.
This is one monkey zebra. It wasn't bees in the gal's wall, it was cats.
She tears the door open, scramble out.
Yeah, she just gassed him anyway. She'll pay cash. How do I pay this?
Oh my god. With Julianne now racing through the lot, Michael vanishes into the station. She plunges in after him, bouncing off bystanders, apologizing, lunging on, gasping for breath, past exhaustion, threatening clumsily through the crowd like a staggering drunk, catching a lucky glimpse as he heads down a staircase to the train. My god. What's he doing? A second wind fueled by panic, and she bolts after him, dancing down the steep staircase somehow without killing herself, reaching the concourse to see him running for track 29, a train already rumbling, ready to pull out. She sprints after him.
Michael!
He disappears behind the train. She falls, skids, springs up, pushes through the gaping
Ow.
onlookers. Almost there. The train pulls away.
No!
But he's just standing there, his back to us, watching it go. Her body nearly collapses with relief. She pushes herself on, but her legs aren't working right in their maxed out fatigue, and she lopes and staggers until she comes up behind him. He's still lost in thought, staring after the train. She tries to speak, but there's no breath. Bitch, you should have stopped smoking. She pushes herself on. Wait, I already said that. Fuck. So she
Asthma.
puts her... Shush. So she puts her hands on her knees and just gasps for air like a dog, wheezing, panting, trying once more to speak, but she can't yet. And then he casually turns and jumps out of his in a heart attack seeing her.
Don't speak.
He just blinks at the sweaty, ripped up, maniacal figure.
I saw that moving.
Don't speak.
Flinging both her hands across his mouth, a frozen beat. He nods. Okay. Cautiously, she takes her hands away. At least she has made him smile in spite of everything. At least she's done that.
I have to make a confession. Another confession. Besides that, I love you. This is even worse. The email you thought Walter sent your boss, I wrote that.
You what? Synapse overload!
You're not saying you actually. You're saying that you actually. You're not saying that you actually.
I wrote it. Yeah, I'm the bad guy.
Are you crazy? Are you absolutely insane? Are you on the drugs? I mean, do you realize what you? Well, of course you realize that's why you're confessing. I mean, how could you do that?
And I didn't know it would get sent. I just wanted you to, get mad at Kimmy. And I've done nothing but slimy, underhanded, despicable, not even terribly imaginative things ever since I got here, trying to win you back. And I was blinded by love, like you said. But that doesn't cause any excuse part of, I'm sorry, but that doesn't excuse any part of it. I am pond scum, actually lower than palm scum. I am the fungus that feeds on the
lower,
scum. Lower than the layer of mucus that crudds up the fungus.
Yes, that's what I was about to say, but yeah.
Well, that's my line. That's why.
Oh. I thought it said Michael, but on the other hand, thank you.
Her line was longer, you dumb shit. You just cut her off anyway.
Oh.
Read yours.
For loving me that much that way. It's pretty flattering.
Except it makes me fungus.
Well, that part I knew.
So you have to marry Kim because she'll actually make you happy. I, in contrast, am a shallow, neurotic psychopath with relatively little to offer. Kim, nod your head. Do as you're told.
He nods his head, still smiling. Her tears are running now. Maybe she doesn't notice.
Just promise you'll never tell me who you would have chosen if I hadn't confessed. Right? Because if you would have chosen me, then would have threw away a perfectly good life just to be a decent person, which is a questionable trade-off, right? And you would have, if you would have chosen some 20-year-old punk over me, I'd have to kill myself.
I'll take it to my grave.
I'm so glad you didn't jump on that train before.
I came here looking for her.
Why would she come here?
This is where I proposed. I had to cover a game in Milwaukee. She saw me off, and when the train started to leave, I jumped on the step, I helped the handle, and without a doubt, without a thought in my head, I shouted, "Marry me." And she gasped and covered her mouth, and the train was pulling out, and suddenly she screamed, "Yes!" just once and blew me a kiss. I never forgot that.
Can't get to my mouse. It's 2 weeks.
Almost 3.
It's so romantic.
I just wonder if you know why. It's because romance isn't mystery and tricks and doubts and halting, unspoken longings. That's not the real romance. The real romance is saying yes. Wouldn't be a nice wedding.
Can't believe you've lost her. Sooner or later you'll find her, and you'll look in each other's eyes and you'll see all about love, and Of course, if it's later rather than sooner, I'd hate to be at you at 6 o'clock. You've got a lot of explaining to.
I'm just thinking of how she's hurting, lost, alone, like her life is over.
But I'm. Jesus, sorry, my script jumped. That's a little egotistical. But undoubtedly accurate. Sorry, got hair in my mouth because fail. Okay, we'll split up. You go to every romantic place you guys have. I'll go somebody's brilliant. The first one who.
If you find her. The kiss may be hard for you to explain. Because the only fear she really has is
Me, yeah, and she likes Tommy Lasorda. Case closed.
But if you do get to her first, there is something you are authorized to say.
Exterior taxi stand day. Julianne sits on the fender of this guy's taxi. The driver smokes, paces while she waits for a connection on her cellular. Then,
Wallace Egregious Residence, Mandy speaking.
Hi, it's Jules. You guys haven't had a call from, say, Kimberly, have you?
Oh, she slipped out, a little monkey. Probably with Michael doing the nasty. Or crying in her nachos down at Komsky Park.
Excuse me?
I had this crank call from some guy who thinks he saw her. I said, what would a bride be doing on her wedding?
You are so right. What the nerve on that guy? Bring my dress to the church, huh?
signals
Okay.
the driver, let's go!
I'm gonna pick up a little something for the ceremony.
Interior luxury box, Komsky Park. Afternoon. Game in progress. Julianne and the bodyguard stand in the doorway of the deserted skybox. Everyone Walter knows is going to a wedding. The box is empty except for one cardboard container of nachos, extra cheese, sitting alone before a pulled back chair.
She wouldn't confide in me, so I called the house. Luckily, I got her cousin.
Yeah, going to the Johns, she said?
Could be there a while.
Interior women's restroom afternoon. Julianne bursts into the enormous, chaotic restroom, looks around wildly, no sign of Kim.
Kim, are you there? I got a warrant for Miss Kimberly Wallace. That's fucked up.
That's so fucked
said.
up.
In here, you bitch.
Now everybody's real interested. Julianne ignores them, strides to the stall, knocks like it's a door, no answer.
Let me in, baby, or I'll rip this damn thing off. It's non-code compliant hinges.
Oh, get out of my face! Shut up!
Some scattered applause from down the line.
Over here, nitwit.
Oh, scattered laughter. Julianne moves down the line, stares at the door. We hear the soft, muted crying from within. Slowly, Julianne drops to her knees, bends her head low, peers under the door. From what she sees, prompts a sad warning.
Incoming.
And she crawls under the door on her belly. We go with her to see Kim, fully dressed, perched on the closed toilet lid, her knees drawn up, her arms around them.
Pitiful.
And she pulls herself up to her knees. Kimmy tries to glare, but it just isn't in her.
Haven't you done enough?
The world gets real quiet. An entire bathroom is listening. Julianne cocks her head to one side.
In 1 minute, you're going to feel so foolish.
Why don't you just drive a stake through my heart?
Have you ever heard of irony? I threw my arms around your husband, okay? And kissed him with all of my heart because I was so happy for you, nitwit. He's going to take the job.
A stunned, poleaxed moment. And Kimmy's eyes spring open. You mean?
With your dad, yeah. Can you guess why, bitch?
Everything inside Kimmy bursts free in a torrent of tears.
He loves me.
And dissolves, sobbing into Julianne's arms. A beat for Julianne to reflect, and then she strokes her tenderly.
Well, of course he loves you. Hell, even I love you. I never want to go through this again.
That's entirely understandable.
Angles
Shit, the
outside the
time.
stall. Yep, there you go. The two burst out of the stall, hand in hand, at a desperate, dead run past us. Hear them explode out the door, and 5 stalls open. Women exit, crying. Exterior, University Chapel, twilight. A taxi pulls up in front of an ivy-covered chapel, fronted by nearly 100 souls, milling about in an attitude ranging from overstimulated curiosity to clinical hyperanxiety. Our girls jump out of the cab, and half the crowd starts running towards us, twins in the lead.
Whatever happened?
We were bonding. We lost track. We're officially sorry. Now, let's put it behind us.
Kim waves at her mom by the chapel entrance and takes Julianne's hand for support.
Believe me, we got a bride who's worth waiting for. Yes? Yes? Okay, out of our way.
Exterior
Move
dressing room,
it.
twilight. Yes, white. Pure, blinding white. Across frame floats more white. This, gauzy and ethereal, it settles, its roots planting deeply in the bride's hair, tilts up to the face of the woman who placed it there. Julianne's eyes appraising this bride we cannot see, and so softly.
Don't worry, sugar. When he looks at you, it will be as if he's never seen a woman before.
Pan down the white until we are close on the bride's perfect slippers. Hold, and interior chapel evening begins to slowly pan back up the length of an exquisite gown. We can tell from the organ, the nearby thrum of expectant voices, that we are nearing the moment. We reach Kimmy's hand, firmly clasping Walter's. Keep panning the bodice, the lace, her throat, and finally we are close on the face of the bride. Now we understand the word radiant. We also understand scared senseless. Our perfect, unflappable Kimmy is in a trance of emotional overload where bliss and panic seamlessly blend. The organ's nodding stops. Kimmy's eyes alerted, like a small animal bearing a predator approach her thicket. Suddenly, the chord. The wedding march from Wagner's Lohengrin. Here comes the bride, and we snap to full angle. Kim and Walter, this is it.
Left foot.
Reverse angle, Kim's POV, the chapel, every pew packed, every neck craning this way, the white satin carpet down the endless aisle to where Michael waits. Also in a zone of pseudo-consciousness from which he attempts a smile, not comforting. Kim's POV whip pan the groomsmen, the twins, locking focus on Julianne, standing strong and beautiful, a glow of her own in the daffodil dress. She sends her little sister a wink across the trackless miles of aisle. And you can do this, kid. So Kimmy does. On her father's arm, she walks the gauntlet of the world's intrusive admiration, one step at a time, the most beautiful she will ever be. She is dazzling the crowd and managing to not throw up at the same time. And she's there. At his side, she glances back to her maid of honor just to make sure she's not working without a net. So Julianne crosses her eyes, which lets the kid smile and finally take a breath. Have a little fun, huh? Kim nods, got it. Turns to the minister, who stands before them with a calming presence. Thank God someone has done this before. The crowd has hushed. The minister's eyes are only for two. His words are for all.
Michael and Kimmy wrote these words. She asked me to confide, mostly Michael.
A ripple of laughter, gentle and fine. They're setting in.
So he gets to say them.
A surprise, a pleasant one. The crowd adjusts in their seats. As Michael begins,
Do people get married anymore?
and on these words, we snap to Julianne, share her interest in the bluntness, the simplicity, the unorthodoxy of this beginning.
Why not live together amicably, with no sense of obligation beyond the moment? As long as the sex is good, as long as no one more interesting has wandered into view, as long as the 1,000 conflicts of two individuals' wills remain comfortably compromised. And when one feels the urge to move on, to explore the new, no guilt, no disgrace, no promise broken, no agony of having dishonored a time when our hearts and the world were different. Marriage is a lot to put up with. The answer must be that there's some need basic to the human heart, that you embrace the obligation of commitment, fulfills some need to belong to one another in a way which ranges against the notion that all is impermanent against the notion of mortality. Our love is bigger and longer than life itself.
And the tears come. They come freely, unhidden, unnoticed, as if they were needed. Michael now looking at his bride.
That's what we want. And marriage is what we do about it. We are fools in this. Thank God Almighty.
Oh boy, that was good.
People laugh. The minister holds up a sheet of paper for the crowd to see, mostly paragraphs crossed out in red ink.
Michael and Kim also edited what they wanted me to say. The idea was, we're only marrying once. We have to remember it forever. Let's keep to the good stuff. Okay. You may kiss the bride.
Bigger laughter. The minister waves this off, his little joke. Turns to the best man, pantomimes the ring. As the hammered gold circle is handed to Michael, Julianne absently scratches her still swollen finger. Mandy taps Julianne on the arm and produces a magic ring! Sorry, take it, gives it to her. So Julianne steps forward, places the second ring into Kimmy's waiting hand. Their eyes meet and hold throughout.
If anyone here can show just cause why this man and woman should not be married, speak now, or forever hold your peace.
Julianne clears her throat. Kimmy's heart flutters. In the silence, Julianne's wonderful smile. Just kidding. Michael reaches for Kim's hand, turns her gently to him, places his ring on her finger, holds her hands.
Kimberly, I promise to love and respect and comfort you, to hear your voice and your heart until we are parted by death.
She swallows and smiles a fleeting, beautiful smile, fumbles slightly, putting the ring on his finger.
Michael, I promise to love and respect and comfort you, to hear your voice and your heart until we are parted by death.
Staring in each other's eyes, a moment so fragile the minister waits an extra beat.
For the record, you each agree to marry each other.
I do.
I do.
We haven't said much about God this evening, I know, but he is here and he is happy to bless his wonderful children. In that Michael and Kimberly have given themselves to each other by solemn vows and the exchanging of rings, I pronounce them husband and wife. Those whom God has joined together, let no one put asunder. Now, kiss the bride.
Julianne watching as Michael does. Exterior Wallace Pond night. This is what all the preparation was for. Tables, lights, balloons, the guests dancing on the hardwood floor at the base of the gazebo. The bride and groom among them, relaxed and happy. Two who are one. We pan to the stage, the band playing, Julianne conferring with the twins, and the band leader clear that she's giving the instructions. Then she takes her glass of champagne to the microphone, clunks it for silence. The band stops. The dancers follow. All eyes are comfortably turned to the maid of honor. She looks to the couple just below her, then to the crowd. Julianne.
Making her fries.
I'm a writer too, not as good as Michael, but I do steal from quality.
She raises her glass and everyone at the table does the same.
This is to my best friend on the occasion of his wedding.
Shouts of support, few
If I have
whistles. Thank you, sorry.
Yeah, I was drinking because I was thirsty, and it's also cheers, you know. If I have truly come to know your bride as my new sister, this is in her heart. Understand, I'll slip quietly away from the noisy crowd when I see the pale stars rising, blooming over the oaks. I'll pursue solitary pathways through the pale twilight meadows with only this one dream. You come too.
A hush. Sharp applause from 400 hands, but not from his. He is too moved, too understanding of what he has heard.
I don't have a wedding gift, but this is on loan until you two find your song.
And with that, the band begins the opening phrases of a song we have come to know. You know, that one that Travis fucked up. Michael seems overwhelmed. Julianne nods towards the gazebo, and Michael takes his bride's hand, leads her up the stairs into his arms as the twins step to the microphone, and guests begin to applaud an unscheduled wedding dance.
Someday, when I'm awfully low and the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight.
Yes. Keep going.
You're lovely with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you, just the way you look tonight.
Julianne can cry now because she's tied with half the place.
With each word, your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And the laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart.
Julianne begins to sing, unheard, unseen, even by the man she's singing to.
You're lovely.
Please
Please
don't
don't ever change.
Keep that
Breathless charm.
Darling,
Please arrange
Cause
it, 'cause I love you. Just the way you look tonight.
Yes! The band keeps playing. The dance goes on. Two people lost in each other the way it's supposed to be. Interior great room, late night, literally the way it was supposed to be. Bedlam, Julianne caught in the middle of the throng. A young couple dressed for travel appear at the top of the staircase. The shouts are deafening. The bride has her bouquet and she spots Julianne far below. Throws it her way. Julianne reflexively goes for it. Not a fucking chance. The twins nearly trample her in the stampede. Mandy wrestling the prize from Sammy's grasp. Everyone cheers, and then the couple is flying down the stairs, racing through the crowd with a protective phalanx of groomsmen bodyguards, heading for the door for freedom. Julianne, trapped in the crush, loses sight of the couple, struggles against the flow, suddenly panicked by the certainty that she will never see him before, and then he's there. He has Julianne in his arms, holding her so tight, an embrace so wonderful, so terrible that she could go mad from the confusion alone. Against the din, he murmurs in her ear,
Wherever I go, however far. Did you get that? Wherever I go, however far.
You win a few, you lose a few. Some get rained out.
and to her surprise,
You have a good time?
to her greater surprise, there are a few tears left after all.
I did what I came to do.
Good girl.
That sounded
I was
naughty.
thinking, maybe you might visit us for a while. We've got the room made up.
I'll think
This
about it.
fucking guy! Sorry, I just had to get my last F-bomb out.
I'm okay.
Oh, you're more than okay.
You too. If the sun comes up, I'll see you tomorrow, huh?
I'll play those odds. You have sweet dreams.
We hear the click. She turns her back on the stars, shoulders straight, chin up. She walks from frame, fade to black, and hold end credits. Yay!
Oh my god, everyone, you did a wonderful job. So fantastic. Jen, thanks for sloughing through all of that scene description. Thank you for watching and have a great night. Boom.